higher up, because if I don't sit up, then I'm like super low. But my arms, like the desk, it can't, because the arms don't fold down. So
you know we're live, right?
We are?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for letting me know that. That's great.
You're welcome. Welcome everyone. This is On Just Restart. That's Brandon from What About Nintendo. The link to his channel is in the description below. This is a Nintendo podcast we usually do every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. But I was away, I couldn't make it in time, so we're doing it today instead. And it actually kind of works out really well for us, because guess what? As I sort of suspected, a lot of us did, you know. I'm not going to take full credit for that. The Nintendo Direct was announced today, and it's tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I think it's 8 p.m. Central Time for you, Brandon. He's from Texas. And
I thought it was 3 p.m. Eastern Time.
You're right. No, I'm sorry. That is totally wrong. Yeah, 6 p.m. I totally screwed it up. So it's 6 p.m. Eastern Time for me, 5 p.m. Pacific Central Time for you, 3 p.m. Pacific Time for the West Coast of the United States. Sorry, thank you for clearing that up, Brandon. See, I need him. But yeah, so it's gonna be a Nintendo Direct tomorrow, and it's gonna be focusing on, you know, games coming out for the rest of 2019, Pokemon Sword and Shield, and Luigi's Mansion 3. But we all know they're gonna talk about other things as well, so we're gonna be talking about all that today, as well as our Astral Chain impressions. Yes, I'm still eating Wendy's. I finished a burger. I have nuggets and fries. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be eating them. But I'll be checking with the chat with them momentarily. But Brandon, how about you? Say hello to people. Speak whatever you want to speak on.
Podcast, where apparently we talk about armchairs instead of the podcast. Indeed. No, that's my second channel where I talk about chairs. That's coming soon. I'm great. did a video. Actually, what I was trying to say was that it was 3 p.m. Eastern, but I'm dumb and I read the tweet wrong. You were right. And when you clarified, it is 6 p.m. Eastern. I made a video and I got that wrong. I cannot believe I'm so dumb. But anyways, I'm doing good. Everything's great. I was actually not expecting the Direct. I guess we're gonna talk about that. I was actually kind of thinking it'd be later in the month. So I'll take the L on that one.
Oh, I'll take the L too, because I was thinking later into the month as well. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think there's a couple things that have been sort of circulating that we could have maybe taken into consideration. One, just that Link's Awakening is coming out, so they probably want to talk about that, I guess. My thinking was that they didn't really need to talk about it, right? So I was thinking maybe a little bit after. And on top of that, there has been this pattern for Smash character releases for them to come out a few days after the next Amiibo line for Smash Brothers. So because of that, a lot of us were thinking that, hey, Banjo would come out around 24th or 25th, a few days after the next Smash Amiibo line comes out, which is the 20th as well, along with Link's Awakening. So we were thinking, okay, maybe Banjo would have its own presentation before the Direct, and then at the last week of September or first week of October, they focus on Luigi's Mansion, maybe mention Pokemon, and then reveal the next Smash character, right? That's what we were thinking, but it looks like Banjo's actually coming out earlier, so it's going against the trend, right? Instead, it's like a month and a half that we're going to wait for Banjo, it seems, because it looks like he might be coming out next week. Because there's actually some ads that came out, and they're supposed to... Yes, there's a fire going on outside. That I'm just kidding. I don't know. My roommates are yelling. I'm not happy about that. Whatever. But anyway, there's some ads that came out for Banjo Kazooie along with other things, and that's going down the 15th. So supposedly Banjo should be out before then. That's the trend we've seen with previous Smash characters and ads like that. So because of that, you know, it seems Nintendo wanted to get it out sooner. They're probably going to reveal or talk about Banjo during this Direct. I'm hoping they have a separate presentation for Banjo, but...
Yeah, that's what I'm predicting. I don't think... I mean, all the other characters, they didn't announce their release dates in Directs or other presentations. They just had their own little thing, usually like the day before they came out. So it'd be weird if this one was different, but I mean, it could be different. I don't see why it couldn't. It just doesn't follow the trend for every other DLC fighter. Even Piranha Plant, I think, was their release date was announced the day before. I think so. So yeah, even the non-Fighters Pass characters were like that. So it'd be weird if Banjo was had the release date announced, unless somehow it's coming out Thursday.
Maybe.
Could happen.
I doubt it.
I do as well, but
I think it's next week.
That's the only way I could really see it being announced, the exact release date announced in the Direct. Maybe they'll announce that it's coming out this month.
Mm-hmm. Maybe. We're going to be checking with the chat momentarily. I just want to pull up this tweet just so we can have the deets. By the way, add on just restart. Follow me on Twitter. But I'll just read the tweet from Nintendo. Tune in September 4th at 3 p.m. Pacific Time for a Nintendo Direct featuring roughly 40 minutes of information focused on 2019 Nintendo Switch games, including Pokemon Sword and Shield, Luigi's Mansion 3. So we're getting about 40 minutes of information. The reason why I want to bring that up now, one, just so we can see all the specific details Nintendo's announcing for this, keeping this in mind for the rest of this discussion, but also because it would be weird for Nintendo to feature like 10-15 minutes for just Banjo conversation. Like, that would just go completely against the pattern for how they've been treating the Smash DLC characters, right? So maybe they do just do a trailer and then just drop them this week and go completely against the pattern. But I feel like it makes more sense for them to do some sort of mention for Banjo alongside an announcement for, say, either Rare Replay or maybe just Banjo Kazooie and Banjo Tooie.
That's what
and then they'll say, hey, look, here's a trailer. Like, they'll do like a little like small clip of Banjo Kazooie and Smash Bros. Say, hey, tune in next week. We'll be talking about him then, right? I think that's what's gonna happen. But you know, we don't know for sure, right? Like we were fairly confident they wouldn't go this early into the month, but you know, Nintendo, they're gonna. It's interesting because they kind of had us thinking, oh, we should wait longer for things, right? Like, look how the February Nintendo Direct went down, right? We thought it would be in January, so they made us wait like a month longer, and so we were sort of thinking that, hey, okay, maybe we should wait a little bit longer for things this year. Nope, let's just rush it all in. The very beginning of September. Here you go, guys. So here we go. Tomorrow's gonna be hype, but let's check in with the chat. And then we'll get the show on the road. We're first going to talk a little bit about Astral Chain, and then we'll just really dive into the predictions and stuff. But we'll be answering to a lot of the things you got to say in the chat. So if there's anything you guys want to talk about, by all means, ask. We'll jump into this. This is going to be a good time. By the way, I didn't bring this up, but Mandy Lee Plays, I said she would be joining us today. Something came up. She'll be joining us next week instead. The link to her channel is also in the description below, so please check her out. Ray Cabana, the Podcast Dojo, may be joining us later tonight as well. We'll see. Just putting that out there for you guys, so keep that in mind. But hello there, Berkeley 007 James. Emmanuel, what's up? Lazy James, my dude, well, how you doing? Processor Gamer, you know, I saw you on Game Explain's video in the comments. I don't remember what you were talking about, but I saw you there. Your first prediction is Paper Mario or Mario and Luigi. Or for me, Super Mario RPG 2. I appreciate that. Thank you for the nod. That would have me most hyped Super Mario RPG 2, but it really depends on how the game is, what they're sort of going for, because I could be excited for either of those. The Mario and Luigi series has been like mostly on, actually, it hasn't been like entirely on handhelds.
It's entirely
on handhelds.
As far as I remember.
So, because of that scope and ambition, it's never really been like, oh, I'm really feeling that. I've never really been like, oh my god, I need this. I've only played a couple of them, and I've never owned them. Like, I've only like played it with friends, like tried it out. So I've never really gotten to the Mario and Luigi series. Paper Mario I do like. So if there's another new Paper Mario, I'd definitely be hyped for that.
Right. As long as it's actually a good Paper Mario game. Right.
Well, I was open-minded to Color Splash. I didn't get around to buying it, but you know, I didn't. From what I heard, it didn't seem bad.
I've heard good things. It's not terrible. It's not. It's not Sticker Star, but it's not. It's not Thousand Year Door either.
Well, I think Nintendo's been doing a lot of right things lately. So maybe
that was a Wii U game. Any game that's on the Wii U that's bad, I'm just like, it was a Wii U game. It was just the Wii U era. They rushed.
Breath of the Wild
you could tell they rushed. Oh yeah. Well, that was like. That's a Switch game.
Think Xenoblade X is going to be announced? Is Xenoblade X ports to be announced for December? Because the guy, I forget his name, but he retweeted the Nintendo Direct. He normally doesn't do that. Like he did not even retweet the E3 Direct. So who was it? You know who I'm talking about, though, right?
Yeah,
or no?
I know who you're talking about.
But do you know his name?
I don't.
Oh boy.
You know me, always great at remembering names.
Yeah, better than me. Man, where is it? I'm like just scrolling Twitter randomly, hoping I just see it pop up.
I think somebody in my comments on the video mentioned it. So if I go back to that comment.
I need to double check his name, man. I should have checked it earlier. This is my bad.
Is it Soraya Saga? I think that's somebody else. Oh, that's the wife of Takahashi. Okay, somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
They retweeted it, so that's also another point, but that's not who we're talking about.
Someone really important was Xenoblade, and for Monolith Soft retweeted the Nintendo Direct, and he normally doesn't. So if someone in the chat has a name, I'd appreciate it. Normally, I have this ready in my brain, but I didn't this time, so forgive me. But, actually, I think, I see Wolfkin's comment. I'm sure you guys saw Soraya Saga, Takahashi's wife, retweet the Nintendo Direct. Every time she retweets the Nintendo Direct, it means Monolith Soft will be in it. So thank you. I think that's that.
Then.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. But yeah, I think that's what I was referring to. What I saw, I think Monolith Soft could definitely have something during Direct for sure. There was
another person at Monolith Soft who usually.
Maybe if you notice someone else.
I don't remember.
So do you think it could be a Xenoblade X port for December? Maybe, because I do think there needs to be a December game, or could it be a whole new game announcing it for next year?
I was planning on making a video on this, and I might still. But I'll go ahead and say here, it might be that medieval game. It's been a while since we've heard about it. They were hiring a lot of people for that back in August of 2017, and they just started hiring a bunch more people for it as well. So we might see that.
Maybe. It's possible. I'm gonna continue down with the chat though. Shadow of Nexus. I really want to see a new Sin and Punishment or Punch-Out game. Oh, I'd be very happy to see either. I think I would prefer to see Sin and Punishment mainly because we got ARMS, and it might be interesting to see how Punch-Out could differentiate itself from ARMS, right?
I think it could.
I mean, it definitely could. I'm just saying there's definitely like a similarity with that, right?
Yeah.
Sin and Punishment, though, I feel like that would just I want to see a shooter like that. It would be nice to see that on the Switch.
The ARMS is just all about like movement and range, and Punch-Out's like kind of the exact opposite.
Yeah.
In a way. But yeah, they're both kind of boxing games, so there's a similarity there. I'd be fine with either. I haven't played any of the games in either of those series, so if they made a new one, I'd check it out.
Yeah, I mean, Sin and Punishment, what's interesting about it is that it wasn't like something that was in the States, right? It wasn't until, I believe, the Nintendo Wii that the original Sin and Punishment that was on the N64 was brought over to the States via Virtual Console. So it's never been a series it hasn't really had an opportunity to thrive, in my opinion. I think if they were to make a new one for the Switch, it could become another like really big franchise potentially.
Okay.
I mean, any Nintendo IP that comes out on Switch and is actually a good game has a tremendous opportunity to become a big brand new series. Look at Astral Chain. It is looking very, very strong and may become one of the best-selling Platinum games, right? At least for a one specific platform. So the Fire Emblem Three Houses, that's going to be the best-selling Fire Emblem game of all time as another great example, right? I can only imagine what Pokemon Sword and Shield is going to accomplish. I assume Luigi's Mansion 3 is going to be the best-selling Luigi's Mansion game. Link's Awakening may end up being the best-selling 2D Zelda game as well. Like, that's just...
Yeah.
This is what happens on the Switch. So,
Switch, you can always count on crazy sales numbers for their games.
Right. So I'm hopeful. I just want more Nintendo IP to get a shot, like the dormant ones, like the Punch-Out, like the Sin and Punishment, like the Wave Race, like the F-Zero, maybe Star Tropics, maybe Kid Icarus. Like, these are franchises that aren't really utilized, but it would be amazing if they were more consistent. And I think the only reason they are not consistent is simply because they don't yield a lot of sales. Same can be said for Metroid Prime. when Metroid Prime 4 arrives, hopefully Nintendo does a great job. I think they will. I think it's going to be a Game of the Year candidate kind of game. And when it does happen, 17 years from now, right, when our grandchildren are doing podcasts about Nintendo Directs.
Oh, wow. Things go quick these days, apparently.
Yes. It will sell really well on Switch, 4.9 billion. That's going to be, the 17th generation of Switch. Obviously, I'm joking. Metroid Prime 4 will come out for the Switch, and we probably won't have grandchildren in 2 years. So, yeah. But, you get my point. I want these games to come to Switch.
Yeah.
Somewhat. Hello, there's Sabbath64. Yeah. I did not get a chicken sandwich this time for Wendy's. I got the biggie bag with the barbecue burger with nuggets and fries. It's not healthy. No. I mean, it's good, but yeah.
Yeah.
Sinus Joe, I had such a good feeling the Direct would be announced by the day of this podcast since it was delayed. Me too. And lo and behold, here we are making some Direct predictions. This is I'm ready. I do not remember the leak saying Banjo would come out early to late. I mean, I've expected Banjo in September for a while, Sinus Joe, but I don't know about one specifically saying early for Banjo. If you have any details on that, I would love to see it. Computer Robots, hello there. You're playing Banjo Kazooie while listening to you guys. Oh, I appreciate that. I kind of hope we can play Banjo Kazooie on the Switch really soon. That'll be great. Evening, Vooper, how you doing? Shadow of Nexus has added me. Have you ever played Darksiders? It's probably going to be in the Direct tomorrow. If you haven't, you should. It's like Zelda and the old. Yeah, actually, I've played Darksiders 2 on the Wii U. I never finished it. I did like it. I just feel like it needed some more optimizations. But I would definitely be willing to give it a try if it was for the right price. It's definitely a fun series. I played Darksiders 1 as well, but I got it on a PC that sucked at the time, so it was lagging like crazy. So I technically played both Darksiders 1 and 2, but I haven't finished either. So hopefully on the Switch they could come out. I'd be down. Science just saying, what if the extra 10 minutes is for Banjo and 5.0? Maybe? I mean, you could still have a really good Nintendo Direct for 30 minutes and then do Banjo and a 5.0 update in for the next 10. That's not how I want to see it go down, because I feel like I don't want them to end it with a Banjo presentation. It's just, I want them to end it with a big surprise, awesome trailer right at the end. That's the way to end a Nintendo Direct. If you do it with a Banjo presentation of something that's kind of already a known quantity, that wouldn't be the right way to handle it, and I don't think it'd be great to have a 10 to 15 minute Banjo presentation in the middle of the Direct either. It wouldn't be good pacing, or at the beginning for that matter. I think what they need to do is what we talked about earlier, just short little clip, maybe I'll mention it alongside some sort of announcement for a rare pack, whether it's Banjo Kazooie, Banjo Tooie, or even Rare Replay, fingers crossed, but I'm just going to expect Banjo Kazooie. And then they'll say next week something will happen for the Banjo presentation. And I also think they're going to reveal the next character, by the way, but we'll say that for a little bit later. And we're also going to talk about the 5th character, too, for the record. Like, I feel fairly confident saying I know which are the final 2 characters for the Fighters Pass in Smash. Sawas64 said, I would think that Nintendo would want to talk about Sword and Shield in a separate presentation. That's what I thought as well, but they're not.
So confused.
So the confusion is real. I think maybe one reason is because they think Sword and Shield may need, like, to be presented to people beyond just the Pokemon community. So if you put it in a Nintendo Direct, right, Sword and Shield has an opportunity to really show itself off and potentially really sell that this could be the big holiday game. I mean, it is numbers-wise going to be the big holiday game, but I think for most people, they don't look at Pokemon like a Zelda or a Super Mario or a Metroid, right? I don't either, and I'm a huge Pokemon fan. I'm huge, but I think it has potential to get it's not going to be there in terms of like Metacritic, like, high quality in that way, but I do think it could start to bridge that gap, right? As opposed to just like kind of like a nearly annual handheld RPG series to more of like a big console game. I mean, Fire Emblem Three Houses kind of made that jump. I'm sort of hoping for a jump similar for Pokemon. Mm-hmm. And I think putting in this direct could be why they're trying to do that, trying to just market it to more of that core audience at Nintendo that doesn't normally buy Pokemon games. That might be it.
That's a good point.
Thanks. I hope I'm right. Maybe. Afro Kid, why is Nintendo Direct not on the YouTube channel? What?
They don't usually have them like listed up until like a few hours beforehand.
Well, actually, give me a second. I'm gonna show you something on my phone, guys. Why is my phone wet? Oh, this water bottle is dripping. Oh. We're good. Just nothing bad happened. We're fine.
Computer fries.
Oh no, we're fine. I probably 100%. Everything's fine. I'm just kind of messing with you guys. There was water on my phone and it was something dripping, but no, it's right here. Like I have it. That's the Nintendo Direct page. That's Nintendo's page with the stream scheduled 20 hours from now. So,
I've had trouble in the past getting it. So it often doesn't show up in my like subscriptions. Like I'm gonna check right now if it's there.
Phantasm Wolves, hello there. Jugs McGee, what's up?
Yeah, it's not. So it only shows up in your like subscriptions a few hours before, I guess. But if you go to Nintendo's actual channel, then it will be there.
Okay.
Or maybe only on your phone, because I'm on Nintendo's channel. It's not there. Maybe your phone is special.
YouTube's weird sometimes, man. Sometimes things show, sometimes they don't. I don't know. I was looking at this podcast. I scheduled it a little bit earlier than usual, and I couldn't find it for like 15 minutes. So it was a little weird. YouTube's weird. But, oh well. Phantasm Wolves. Although Crash Bandicoot may not get a shot if he's not Fighter 5, I'll be honestly happy if we got Terry Bogard. Me too. I'm not a big SNK fan necessarily, but I was looking into Terry Bogard, and I think it'd actually be a really good character. Brandon Stallion, hello there. Vilbeard, his hype is over 9,000. I'm right there with you. Oh man.
Let's go.
Rupert saying, dude, you definitely gotta try Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. I may
Mario
someday.
And Luigi Bowser's Inside Story is the best one. And
which one?
The only one I've beaten.
Which one?
Bowser's Inside Story.
Are you sure you're not biased?
I'm definitely biased.
Okay. I will give a Mario and Luigi game a try. Soon-ish. There's a lot of games that I have to play. Computer Robots. Brandon, Breath of the Wild is a Wii U and Switch game.
I know.
No, I don't. That's news to me. I thought it was on Neo Geo. I am joking. I'm definitely joking. Jugsy is saying, I think Nintendo's going to draw up some hype for Daemon X Machina in this direct. They need to, because I'm going to be real with you.
Yeah.
I am not paying attention to it at all. I've seen some things drop for it. I haven't cared. Just going to be real with you guys. Yeah, it needs something, and it's that not there for me.
It was trash. I didn't like
Sadly. Phantasm Wolves. Plus, if Terry does get chosen for Smash Bros., they got to have the SNK Heroines female Terry as an alt. I'd like that. I really would. I kind of think that should be there. Maybe it will. Computer Robots added me. I'm actually playing Banjo Kazooie on the Xbox 360. Oh, so the Rare Replay version, right?
Yeah.
Oh, N64 version that is. Which version? I think you actually meant the N64 version. Cool.
Which would be the Xbox Live Arcade version, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Recessive Gamer has another prediction. Some sort of platforming Mario. Yes. Odyssey 2 or something like that. I'm predicting that. We'll dive into that in a little bit. I'm gonna kind of run through the chat here real quick, and then we're gonna get started with the topics. There's only 2, but the second one is gonna be
great.
A lot.
Oh yeah.
So just bear that in mind. Science Joe, the leak said that the hero was done in late June, but took an entire month for balancing, and Frisk would be next DLC, which seems doubtful now.
Frisk.
Yeah.
Undertale protagonist? No.
We'll see. Yeah, I don't know. Robier, hello there. The holidays are over. He's saying he can find during every podcast.
Nice.
Oh, every podcast. Well,
there you go.
I'm glad you're here, man. All right, I'm gonna start focusing on ads because we gotta get into the discussion, guys. So if you really want me to address something, at me and I will address it. Sabbath added me. Is it too soon to show another Smash character? Well, we sort of touched on it already. We thought it was, right? But I guess not. Nintendo's like, nope, because he didn't expect it. Here you go. I think, you know, they want to get everything out there for a Nintendo Direct, right? They probably wanted to. Another important thing that we didn't take into consideration that I failed to mention earlier. Another reason why they could want this Direct so soon, revealing Smash among a bunch of other things, is because Nintendo Online is ending soon. Like it's gonna have its whole year anniversary. A lot of people subscribe then. They probably want to offer up some reasons for people to resubscribe. Maybe Super Nintendo games, maybe another exclusive game, kind of like Tetris 99, things of that nature. So, you know, if Banjo's ready, you know, they're like, hey, let's just push this, reveal this. They might as well squeeze everything into a Direct earlier in the month to really keep people subscribed. They're really only jumping things a couple weeks, so it's not really that, I guess, not really that much of a stretch. So, you know.
Yeah.
Hello there, Super Chris. Computer Row has added me. Even though that Mario and Sonic at the Tokyo Olympic Games doesn't fit your interest, I think you should still try it if you want, because there might be something new that you want. Actually, you know what? Mario and Sonic at the Tokyo Olympics has actually hit my radar recently. I saw that new addition to the game, how there's like a retro mode as well, right? And I think it looks really cool. I think it's weird that the Mario characters are in 8-bit and the Sonic characters are in 16-bit. I feel like that might be some Sega bias right there, but I understand Sonic was introduced with the Genesis, not before then. It was a 16-bit system, so, you know, it's a little complicated. But still, I think it looks really, really cool, actually. I think the game looks great, and I mean, it might be a really fun party game, right? I would like to have a good party game. I've played Super Mario Party, so I'm not sure which one I should go for. Maybe Mario and Sonic at the Olympics could be really fun, especially if it has a lot of like sports games. It could kind of remind me of like Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort. So it's on my radar. So thanks for pointing that out.
I think it's one of those games that I might buy if I had friends.
Ah, yes, the friend element.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess we're not getting it then. Thanks for reminding me. I'm in the same boat.
Right.
Brandon Stallion, he added me. Do you think Super Mario Party 2 will be the surprise Nintendo game with handheld mode and pro controller support, story mode, 12 boards, online board play, and a few retro boards? No.
No.
Can it happen? Yes, but so like there could still be a Super Mario Party next year, right? And they don't have to announce it now. I could see that being maybe announced maybe at an early 2020 Direct if it was going to come out in 2020. I don't expect that to be announced at this point. I'm kind of thinking either the new games that will be announced will either be something that's coming out that's really small that can come out really soon, some sort of HD port for December from Nintendo, and then a couple early games to come out like for January and February. And then if it's anything that's later into the year for 2020, it's kind of a bigger game, like maybe Super Mario Odyssey 2, for example.
I'm not even really expecting a new Mario Party. I would expect them to get like DLC for the old one, because a lot of people were kind of complaining about the lack of content.
Super Mario Party came out last year though, right?
Yeah.
I just could I feel like they're just focusing on the next one. I kind of see it coming out next year. I just don't think they're going to announce it at this Direct.
I mean, they did that a lot with the older ones, but there were also DLC didn't exist back then. Mm-hmm. So it just seems weird to me personally why they would release another one a year or 2 years later. But
my point is simply that there is no DLC for it already, and I feel like the boat has already sailed on that. Like there's going to be DLC for it. It would have already been announced, right? Like we know about DLC for Fire. I don't think
they're making a new game then, though.
Maybe
honestly,
not.
I think they're either getting DLC or they're just not doing anything with Mario Party 4.
Or maybe instead of making Mario Party, they're making another party game, like WarioWare.
Could happen. Yeah.
Well,
I just don't
would like
see
to see
a
WarioWare.
new Mario Party coming out next year. I don't see why.
I mean,
it would be a weird
on the GameCube, did you want every single Mario Party?
No.
Well, you know,
I didn't play any of them.
Okay. I don't know. I'm not the kind of person that's gonna buy every single Mario Party, but I do think that it makes sense for there to be more Mario parties, I guess. So we'll have to wait and see. But I'll check on this one last comment, and then we'll jump into the actual discussion. 764 added me. What if Nintendo announces a Super Mario Strikers yes, please let that happen. I really want Super Mario Strikers.
Oh yeah.
If that's like an early 2020 game, I'd be so hyped. That'd be amazing. My one contention with the possibility of that is Mario and Sonic at the Olympics is happening, and if there's some minor redundancy with that, there is even like a soccer mode in that game. Now granted, that's nothing like Mario Strikers, not nearly fleshed out or anything like that, but I just wonder if they would decide to push a Mario Strikers in the same year as Mario and Sonic at the 2020 Olympics. So they could still do that, right? I mean, this year, what happened? We got both Mario Maker and New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe within 6 months of each other. So it doesn't always have to fit neatly like that. It doesn't always have to make perfect sense. Sometimes they just drop things, right? And I definitely would love to see a Mario Strikers. And I also would say that even though while there might be some overlap, some redundancy, I still think Mario Strikers would make sense, and that's something I would really want to have. Mm-hmm. So, fingers crossed, man. I really want another Mario Strikers. But let's we're definitely going to continue talking about the Nintendo Direct for most of the night, but I think we should talk a little bit about Astral Chain before we really dive into all of this Direct speculation. Brandon, I know you've been kind of playing it more than you play anything else.
Yeah.
I've played it not as much as you because I've been busy, but I've probably put in at least like 5-ish hours, maybe more. Okay. So it's not like I haven't played it. I've definitely played it. I'm very excited about it. I think I'm at the part where I'm trying to. I don't want to spoil anything.
Spoilers.
I feel like if I say this is not that big of a deal. I'm trying to save someone who I'm related to. Yes, I mean that's where I'm at. I have to jump into another realm because I'm trying to save someone that got pulled in. Okay. Yeah.
I still don't know which part you're at because that happens.
That probably happens like 7 times. Yeah.
It happens many times.
Okay, so I've already met the dog.
Okay.
I've already met the dog. I'm past that. I'm like in the middle of the mission that happens after.
What file are you on?
I don't remember the numbers, but so there's like this side quest where you can talk to like 5 kids, and they're like, oh, which one of us is lying?
Right.
I'm a little bit past that. Like I
know exactly where you are.
Right. I'm in the fighting portion after that. Like I already got past the investigation part. I'm in the fighting portion after that. I fought one. I beat a 3-headed dog. I beat a Cerberus, so I think I'm a little bit past that. So I don't know where that is in relation to where you're at.
Very far away.
Very far away. You haven't beaten the game yet, though, right?
I have.
You have. You're replaying it.
I have, but I have not. I'm not replaying it. I guess this isn't really spoilers, but after you beat the game, there is post-game content that I haven't done.
Gotcha.
A pretty decent amount of post-game content to do.
Okay.
But I beat the main story of the game.
Okay. You said you told me personally that you're like loving the heck out of this game.
Oh yeah.
What about it is like really drawing you in more so than usual?
Okay. I think it's just the pacing of the game. A lot of it has to do with pacing. Because one of the reasons I'm only 20 hours into Fire Emblem still is because I don't really enjoy the pacing of that game. Like, it's great for some people, but for me, it feels very slow. Like, there's just too much, in my mind, filler in between the story. Like, you hardly ever get new story stuff. It can be like an hour or two before you get any new story info, and it's not that much, typically at a time. Obviously, I haven't gotten to the point where you go forward in time. Apparently, the story picks up or whatever, but where I'm at, super slow. This game, however, is just constant story, constant just crazy stuff happening, and I've never felt bored for 1 second in that game. Like, I was always invested.
And so I understand where you're coming from. it is kind of like, all right, so okay, I'm gonna do some exploring, some investigation, and then all hell is gonna break loose like really quick, like really soon. Now I will say that I've really wanted to kind of dive into the combat, and sometimes I'm like, okay, this investigation stuff is cool, but I kind of just want to rush into the combat.
I actually never felt that way, and I did like, I tried to get 100%. In the beginning, it seems like there are some places you have to replay because you don't have the proper.
Yes, I've noticed that actually. Like there's like certain like when you finish a mission, it kind of like scores you. Like there's like different like cases within a single mission, right?
Right.
Like I've seen like how I thought like I did everything, but then there's like there's like what like 5 only did 5 out of 6. I'm like, wait, how did that happen? I imagine it's something that I can't even do in my first playthrough. I'm sort of expected to go back. Maybe at a harder difficulty and find more.
You are expected to go back and replay parts to get everything.
And that's kind of how Platinum Games is, right? Like every mission you're scored on how well you do, how much you accomplish. Like it is kind of like a very arcade style where it's pushing you to do a little bit better. So that's common with Platinum Games.
The things you can do 100% no matter what are I think the blue side quest and the red matter cleanup. I believe both of those can be 100% because I've 100%ed red matter before and the blue missions.
Okay, I'm not entirely sure what red matter is.
Red matter is the
things you collect
that you fly over with your legion and it collects it. It's
okay, yeah, I do know what that is. I just didn't realize that's what it was called. Okay.
Yeah, it's called red matter.
Okay.
Which is highly addicting, by the way, for me to collect. Like I tried to get close to 100% as much as possible. I think the lowest percentage I ever got was like 93%.
Interesting.
It's your coins. I always try to get almost all of it.
It's your coins.
Yeah. Oh, I care about them so much more than coins.
So, one thing that I wasn't really... I don't want to word myself incorrectly here, because I actually loved it. But I guess like I was playing with friends while friends were watching, so I just wanted to like kind of show off the fighting. So I kind of felt more. That's maybe what it is. I felt more compelled to kind of get past the in between stuff. Yeah. So when I meet the dog or the mascot dog, right? I agreed for her to show me around, and I kind of regretted it because I realized she was going to show me around to a whole bunch of different places that I had to go to. But I didn't want to deny myself content. But in retrospect, I'll say I'm actually really glad I did because she's really funny. And you'll just go into a room randomly, just exploring randomly, and then she pops up behind you like, "Hello, hi, how you doing?"
Oh, shit. Oh.
Yeah, and it's like this running gag, like, then you become prepared for it. Do you expect her to be behind you? You turn, and then she's not there, and you turn back, and she's in front of you. You're like, "Oh my god!" So it's actually like really funny and scary at the same time.
Even some like the side characters you talk to, and be like, "That was the scariest thing I've ever been through." Is when Lappy just showed up.
Yeah, I
have nightmares.
It's really interesting how it is, how the characters sort of interact with you. So I am kind of falling for the characters. I love the characters in this game. But what I really want to get to, though, is that when I got into, not the infirmary, there's another room that's kind of small, but it's where you can buy and upgrade weapons.
Oh, that one. I don't think it has a name. You can't even, like, teleport straight to there.
Maybe, but I kind of walked in there randomly, and she just appeared behind me, and I was kind of, like, the game didn't tell me to go there, or at least I didn't realize it did. I just sort of walked in there, and there she was, and I freaked out. But then I looked into the actual stuff, and I was really excited about it. Like, the customizations actually seem really cool, and they're not, like, overbearingly complicated either, but there's still a lot you can do. So, it's interesting, because this game's, like, increasingly, like, introducing more and more mechanics, but it doesn't overwhelm you ever, right?
Yeah, it does a great job of teaching you. Even like the enemies, when they introduce them, like they have like a little cutscene for each different type of enemy, and you kind of get a feel for what their different
they do
are and how you're supposed to defeat them.
I will say, do feel like sometimes there's a lot of clutter on screen, right? So I'm not entirely like, I'm not gonna say
like
you can't read
and stuff.
What, like the UI and stuff? Like sometimes I'm like, there's a lot.
Each individual piece of the UI off.
That's good to know.
And change the text color and stuff.
That's really cool.
Yeah. I never did it myself, but I've seen that you can do that. Like the UI customization is insane.
You can also customize your character a fair bit as well.
Yeah, I didn't do that much either.
The only thing I've done so far is I took off the tie. I was like, I don't like ties, so I got rid of the tie. It's the exact same suit, but I have like the traditional male hair, but I made it white, and he has red eyes.
I'm playing as the female.
Yeah, I
usually do in games.
Yeah, I am appreciating it from my side. Like, she's like the sister, so she's like the little sister you have to protect. So I kind of appreciate that element. I don't know
Something I'm curious about. Does she have voice lines? Like a lot of voice lines?
She talks a lot.
She talks? Okay. When you pick the girl doesn't say anything. The guy says everything. So
right.
actually
Your
the
sibling...
story is different depending on which sibling you have.
Is it?
Yeah.
I wonder how...
Not necessarily different, but your perspective is different. Like, if you pick the guy's going to be the hero, and the girl's going to be the one you have to save, and all that kind of stuff. If you pick the girl's going to be the hero, the guy you have to save. Like,
right, so I mean, it's just a role swap.
Right.
I'm just curious if the interactions are different.
I think it might be because I think their personalities themselves are different.
That's what I want to... I want to know if their personalities are different.
Right.
And
I'm very curious to, like, replay the game as the guy and see what's different.
Right, because there's this element with the girl where she's a little bit jealous of your power. Is the guy jealous of the girl, of you, since you're playing as a girl?
Yes. Yeah, he is in a I don't know, in a way, I guess.
Maybe they're... I'm gonna have to play it myself.
I'm not sure how similar they are because yeah, I'd have to play it.
Yeah, I'm curious to find out as well. And the game does have a fair bit of replayability, so there is that to consider. Though, from the way I've seen it, it doesn't seem like it wants you to restart the game. It's kind of more like you've already started a file, so you just go back to each.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wants you to go back to the missions.
Right. But I think you can choose to play be above casual with Astral Chain from the get-go, so you could still start hard. So, yeah, I mean, I think the game's great, guys. So for everyone watching who hasn't tried out Astral Chain, I think you should definitely give it a shot. This game has a lot. It's kind of like watching like a sci-fi anime, but also it's an intense action game that has a fair bit of investigation as well, but it's very well balanced. And I do agree with you, it is very well paced. My only complaints are maybe the UI might be a little bit cluttered at times, and it is hard. Like, I think on casual I feel challenged, and there was one part that I couldn't figure out what to do, so I kept dying. I don't think the game made it clear what to do at that moment. Like, I knew there was like this boss that had this circle that would trap me, and it kept closing in, and every time it closed in enough, I would just straight up die. Like, I would lose all my life. I knew there was these things on the outside that I had to break with my Legion, but I didn't know how to get my Legion to hit it. Like, I could get it to it, but it wouldn't actually hit it. And it was before the game taught me how to jump. So I don't know if maybe the game wanted me to learn how to jump without telling me, or something else, but I couldn't have my Legion actually attack something from far away yet.
If you want your Legions to attack, you just need to put them close to it. Typically, just auto
That's
attacks.
what I tried to do.
Some Legions
didn't.
are very slow about it, and some are very fast. You can also bring your Legion back and then shoot it out to hit something.
Interesting.
So that might have been what... I don't remember what I did at that part. I might have just shot it with my gun.
Maybe. Maybe I didn't do enough shooting.
Because I honestly don't remember what you're talking about. I think the same thing comes up again in another boss fight later, which I had a lot of trouble, but I
it
think
looks like a giant gorilla.
Version.
The boss that I fought. It looked like a giant gorilla.
Right. I just don't remember ever getting that attack except on like a really late boss. So I might have beaten it in a way that it never did that attack.
I just died a few times and eventually I killed him without figuring out how to beat that one move. But like basically every time you did that move I would die, but I just beat him before I ran out of lives. So whatever. Besides that little moment, I'm actually really enjoying the game. This is a big one, guys. Definitely give it a shot. You'll be missing out if you don't give it a shot. I'd say it's gonna feel fresh. It's gonna feel different, and this is the kind of game that I think could become a new series for Nintendo, and that's really, really exciting. But actually, another note before we jump into all of our direct predictions: have you noticed that the review scores for this game are very high? Right, the press are looking upon this game very greatly. The sales are very strong, but the user scores on Metacritic are very low. And people looked into this, and it really does look like it's just all review bombs. Like, there's a lot of fanboys for Platinum games that are on PS4 or Xbox that are very salty. This is a Nintendo Switch exclusive. A surprising amount. I didn't really think that would happen. Like, I didn't
expect this at all.
Yeah, I didn't expect it at all. Like, I knew with Bayonetta there was some salt there, but this is a whole other game.
But that was a series that had been on other consoles before.
Right, exactly. So there was a narrative for that. This is not the case for Astral Chain. So there are a whole bunch of fanboys just putting zeros for Astral Chain on Metacritic just because they just like, oh, this is a bad. And this all happened like the day the game came out. There's no way they got the game and played it. And they're all like one-liners for the record. It's very obvious what it is. I think it's dumb. It kind of goes to show you what we were talking about the other day, how user scores are just not important. They're not.
Yeah, most of the time they're just trash.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, that's the case. But, Astral Chain is great, so definitely give it a shot. Don't pay attention to the user score. All other normal reviews are probably a lot more telling to how good the game is.
And I have 2 videos. One video I have supposed to come out today, but then the Nintendo Direct got announced and it screwed me over. But I have a spoiler-free discussion video that goes really in depth into my thoughts on the game without spoilers, and then I have another video planned once I beat the post-game content for a spoiler discussion that goes into some of the actual story details, my thoughts on that. So stay tuned if you want to hear more about my thoughts on the game.
Cool. I actually see Think Game Talk Coloco here in the chat. He's telling he's working on a review. So apparently, I think if you go to the locker room, that's where you can change your clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's explained to you if you do the Lappy side quest.
Maybe you skipped the Lappy side quest.
Or like, stupid dog, I don't want to deal with this.
Also, apparently, according to Think Game Talk, Metacritic has adjusted the score. It's up to 9.0 on the user score now. Good. So I'm glad that Metacritic is adjusting for nonsense. That's really good. Hello there, Mastermind. How you doing?
Oh, to change the colors, you just need to go select a piece of gear. Then there's this under change gear, I think it's called. There's change color of gear, and then you can change it there.
Oh, okay.
You have to unlock the color changes, though.
Oh, right. Yeah, I want to unlock the color changes for the Legion, too, because you can change the Legion's color as well.
Yeah. I changed the color of my Sword Legion and didn't change anything else.
Wow.
For any of the other ones, because I was too lazy. I don't like color changing. I just find it boring and useless. But it's cool for people who like it. I just don't.
So let's jump into the direct predictions. We've already touched on it a little bit, guys. And the way, we'll be checking with the chat every few minutes. But I think, I think we should just go prediction by prediction, what we think we're going to see, and just kind of go through it like that. We touched on the Banjo thing, so let's touch on that first, right? Do you agree with me? I'm kind of expecting something from Banjo Kazooie, either Banjo Kazooie and Banjo Tooie, or just Banjo Kazooie, or best case scenario, Rare Replay with some new Nintendo exclusives, right? Not exclusives, but throw in Diddy Kong Racing, Star Fox Adventures, things like that into Rare Replay. One of those things, something along those lines, will be announced during the Nintendo Direct, and they'll also say, hey, next week we will have a Banjo presentation, and they'll show a short clip of him fighting. That
is the part that I'm not sure I agree with. I don't know if it'll be next. I mean, it could be next week. Obviously, there's the rumor you were talking about earlier that it might be before the 15th. I don't know if I completely agree with that. I'm just not sure if they'll say that it's next week or not, or if they'll just say stay tuned.
Maybe.
Because all the other ones, we didn't have any clue.
They could just tease it. Okay, I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
Maybe they just tease it. Or maybe that whole thing where Sakura said they don't have much of a budget, they just decide to not really do much for Banjo in as a specific presentation. It was like, hey guys, here's Banjo, this is what it can do, like a 2-minute trailer, and then that's it. They might do that.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind because I thought the hero presentation was kind of boring. It was just him kind of playing.
I liked it.
I'll just play myself when it comes out the next day.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
I don't need to show me everything.
I definitely wanted to. I'm more excited for the Well, when it's with Banjo, no. But like for the other characters, I'm kind of more excited for the update that comes alongside of it. So there's that. But I
See, I liked Piranha Plant because you could just like they didn't tell us like how they played. You just had to go figure it out.
That's cool. Yeah, that's a good point.
I thought that was great.
I will say that I'm going to predict, and I don't know if it happens this week or next week. It depends on when Banjo comes out, but I do think that the 5.0 update will come out alongside Banjo, and they will come with a new mode. I think that mode is going to be Home Run Contest.
Right, because it's in the data mine.
Yeah, I think there's something else that was data mined recently. I completely forgot about it. That might be in their long Home Run Contest. It's slipping my mind. We talked about it a few weeks ago, but Home Run Contest alongside another mode I think is going to come in the 5.0 update. Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, last update was kind of... The new mode was very underwhelming, in my opinion. And we only got the one, right? So it would be kind of... Wouldn't we get two? I don't know, because we've only gotten one in the past. Or did we get two with Joker?
2 modes?
The 3.0? Yeah.
It depends on what you consider a mode. Because, yeah, they add multiple things. They're just not all things we want, but they do add multiple things with each update.
Right.
Like, I'm just trying to remember specifically what they added. Like, there's a major thing for each one. Like, for the first update with Joker, it was the Sage Editor, right? And then with the Hero, we got online turning mode. Right, but they added a couple other little things for each one. Like they also added a spectator mode, for example, in with the 4.0 update, and they also added a different difficulty in not Subspace Emissary, World of Light. Yeah, which was no, you don't need that.
It was already super easy.
But the point is, they do add more than just one thing. And I do sort of expect more than just Home Run Contest.
Right. I'm just saying like it probably won't be a whole.
Well, it's probably unrealistic to expect like Home Run Contest, Break the Targets, and Smash Run. Like that's a lot.
Right.
I would scream, enjoy. Like great. I'd be so happy, but maybe like a third of that or like half of that. Like 1.5 modes. Like one mode that's kind of cool, another mode that's just a quality of life improvement.
Right. I mean, I could see Home Run Contest and something like Board the Platforms, or maybe what they would do is in classic mode, they would add more variants of that, like we have to run through that specific stage. Because I don't know why there's only one of those. It makes no sense.
Yeah, what they could do, I could kind of see like. So you remember Board the Platforms and Race to the Finish? I could see them sort of taking Race to the Finish, taking Board the Platforms and Break the Targets and merging it all into one mode, right? Where you pick each character and it's kind of like, okay, they have a stage for each one, for each character or maybe a group of characters, right? That kind of fit for that particular stage. And then each one, like, it's like a slightly different challenge. Like this time you have to board the platforms, this time you have to break the targets, this one you have to race to the finish. But they use the same stage, right? The same layout, and they just kind of throw in a different sort of hazard or, I guess, objective to do within that thing. So kind of combining all these different modes into one. So it wouldn't be quite like having each individual mode, but it would be more than just having, say, just one of those modes.
Right. I think that'd be cool.
It's just an idea I have.
I'm expecting it, but yeah.
Yeah, it's just an idea I have that I would personally like to see. I don't know. There may not be any break the targets in this game, which I think is a mistake. I really want that.
Yeah, break the targets because, I mean, it's just so cool. When you go back and you like watch people like speed run, like break the targets and board the platforms,
awesome.
And like it's so cool.
And I think it makes sense because it helps to sort of train you on how to move around with the character, right? So I
you have to
want
use like all of your different moves to hit.
Yeah, it is kind of like a training mode. It helps you to master different moves and techniques with that character. I really want it. There is no signs pointing towards that. All I can hope is that with each update, there's a new mode, and eventually they'll get to that. That's what I have to hope for.
I do think it's possible we could get as I said before, more variants of that one stage in Classic mode that already exists.
At least that
would
man.
make sense. I feel like that could be something that they could add.
Like, I like what it is. It's just, it's the same thing for every character.
Yeah, it's why is there only one?
Yeah.
I feel like it can't be that much development time to have made, you know, like at least like 3.
Yeah, I mean it's basically Race to the Finish. Is it called Race to the Finish? It might be.
I don't know.
Whatever it is.
It's basically a Race to the Finish mixed with a little bit of Break the Targets, I guess.
Yeah.
You have to break things.
Yeah, it's okay. It's very okay. I would prefer. I remember the original was Race to the Finish. Maybe it's my nostalgia goggles, but Race to the Finish was really cool. Especially if they threw in enemies in there, like that would be awesome.
I know what we need for a Nintendo Direct. We just need them to port Smash 64. That's all we need.
Just throw that in there. That's the new mode, Smash 64.
Buy that.
Yeah.
If they ported like Smash 64, just like a 1080p upscaled version,
that'd be beautiful.
I'd buy it in a second.
I actually think that might happen eventually.
That'd be so cool.
In the sense that we may be getting Super Nintendo Online games, right? I think that's gonna be announced during the Direct, actually. Super Nintendo Online games, and with Super Nintendo, I think that door opens for other things like N64.
I think it could. I just don't. I feel like with all the other online announcements, they've always done them with like trailers and stuff. But I mean, they could have it in the Direct. I just feel like it's not really Direct-worthy content, I guess. Like, everything else has just been trailers, and I feel like they could just get away with a trailer this time and be perfectly fine. Like a separate thing on like the actual like day or the day before the online anniversary of the online. When is that exactly, by the way? What day?
Give me a second. I think my dog has a giant bone. He's just slamming it against the wall. Yeah, hold on.
Anybody in the comments know the exact day of the online? Actually, probably.
What are you doing, buddy?
Let's see. Online.
Alright, buddy.
September 19th. Okay. So I looked it up. The exact day is September 19th. So I could totally just see them releasing a trailer like the 18th or the 19th and be like, "Yep, Super NES games. Go ahead and buy that service again."
Yeah. I kind of expect that tomorrow. The Super Nintendo games. And I hope that eventually that also means we start getting N64 games and other things of that line, like Game Boy games. I would love to see some Game Boy games or Game Boy Advance games, for example. It would be hard to if we ever got DS games, that would be amazing. But I feel like there's just no way to pull that off.
They had them on the Wii U.
But the Wii U was a 2-screen experience.
Right. Did they actually like separate the screens?
I never bothered to buy a DS game.
I feel like I've seen footage of the game where it's just one screen. Like you can play it on one screen.
I guess maybe it could work in only portable mode, right? Where's my Switch? It's put away somewhere. It's in my backpack. Like, I guess maybe is it possible to maybe have both screens on the Switch in portable mode? Maybe like DS games could exclusively only work in portable mode. I can maybe see that.
Yeah.
Another possibility is maybe you can map the touchscreen controls to the right analog stick, which would probably be terrible, but you know.
They could have it a pointer, depending on, you know, the game. It might work.
Maybe.
Well with a pointer.
Maybe they could do that. I mean, there's more than enough buttons to accommodate for that, I guess. Yeah, I guess it's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 3DS kind of has the same issue if they want it. Well, I don't think they're gonna do that, but I'm just saying. Eventually, if we ever got like 3DS backwards compatibility, that'd be weird as well. I don't think that's gonna happen just because it's so recent of a system.
Yeah. But let's go back to Smash, because you know, Smash.
Cause it's Smash.
Because it's Smash, exactly. But I mean, we agree though. Like, is there any really debate that they're not gonna announce Super Nintendo Online games?
I don't know if. Because I'm kind of 50-50 on whether it would be in this Direct or not.
Well, here's the thing, okay. And forgive me if you brought it up already. I was distracted with the dog thrashing the bone around. But one, the whatchamacallit, Nintendo Online is restarting soon, right? Mm-hmm. I think maybe that's one of the reasons why I think Nintendo is probably happy so soon, because they want to bring up things to get people to resubscribe, right? One of those things I think is Super Nintendo Online games, right? On top of that, the reason why I think Super Nintendo Online games are happening is because we saw an FCC filing for a Super Nintendo wireless controller,
right,
kind of like what we saw for the NES one back before that happened, and we got the NES Online games. I think this is a Super Nintendo wireless controller for Nintendo Online members, so they can play Super Nintendo games. Mm-hmm. With that, I mean, obviously you can use your normal controllers as well, but that's just kind of like part of the novelty of having it there.
I don't necessarily agree that. Well, I mean, obviously, it's just one of the reasons that they might have had it now. I don't know. Depending, maybe they have other games as well planned, because otherwise, why? I don't feel like they need to pull the direct back in order to announce this, because a simple trailer would be fine.
Yes.
But I think that they might put it in here just because. I just don't feel like
I get the feeling that they will. I get the feeling that they will, because it's just announcing Super Nintendo games for Nintendo Online. Before, it was kind of like Nintendo Online kind of had like its own push, right? And they're like, hey, this is a part of the feature. You can play these games on, like, you know, because they wanted to talk about different aspects of Nintendo Online. Where one of the things they talked about was having the NES games with that part. Like, it was like, oh, this is one of the little things you get for having one of the features of it. Mm-hmm. Now they're just updating one of the features, right? So it's, I guess, in a way, a smaller announcement, although the quality of that one smaller announcement, I would argue, is even better than most of Nintendo Online, right, having Super Nintendo games. But the point is, there's something that won't take too long, something they can squeeze into a direct that they don't think needs to have its own trailer. Although they could, and I agree with that. But I just think the timing is very interesting. So I'm going to assume that the Super Nintendo games are going to be in this direct, even though Nintendo has had a lot of individual trailers for like specific new game releases, right? Like whenever it's like a system or some sort of online update, they have done trailers. So I do see your point.
I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm just saying I'm 50-50 on whether or not they'll just release the trailer.
I mean, like, to tell you the truth, I'm like 50-50 for everything happening. I'm 50-50 for... Besides the direct actually happening tomorrow, I'm like 50-50 on everything. Because Nintendo's kind of unpredictable, you know? Even when things do make sense.
Then I'm more than 50? Which way? I 60, am 40? More so leaning to that they would just do a trailer, but I also think that they could also just put it in the direct.
Okay.
I just don't feel like it's a big enough thing that they need to have it in the direct.
Okay.
And they might want it to be a little bit closer to the actual like anniversary of the online, so that people can resubscribe like right then, instead of being like, oh, resubscribe in 2 weeks.
Unless they have some sort of new deal to announce.
Maybe.
We'll find out tomorrow, perhaps. So, I wanted to start diving into, like, some of the DLC speculation, right? Because there's a lot. This is going to be a big part of the discussion, guys. And I know a lot of you guys are talking about it tomorrow, already, in the chat. Apparently also talking about my shorts. Great. I see a lot of people talking about it, right? A lot of you guys are talking about it, so we're just gonna jump into it. So I wanted to get Shifty in for this because I want him to speak for himself, because he's a source for one of these leaks, actually. But I guess he's busy. But anyway, a leak came out. 2 leaks came out, actually, and I kind of believe both. Spoiler, for different Smash characters for the Fighters Pass. The first, and yes, this is a spoiler, right? Like, if you don't want to know about the Smash characters, I've been warned, but I feel like you guys don't care. You want to hear about it, so you're gonna hear about it. Shifty, right? He, a few days ago, when the weekend was starting, right before the weekend started, he put out a video talking about what he heard from his sources, because he knows some people that give him direct information directly from Nintendo. They give him information, and from what he's told me, and all by the further, everything he said is all public. Like, he's not like hiding anything, right? Like, when he's confident about something, he comes out and says it. But he's got information, and what he's been told is that Ryu Hayabusa from Ninja Gaiden is going to be in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now, the thing is, Shifty has a good track record of Smash leaks. For example, he leaked Piranha Plant before anyone else. Or he also leaked Marks as a boss as well. He also had the inside on Isabelle and Ken as well, and when the final direct would happen, I believe. So a lot of those things, other people got, but the Marks boss and the Piranha Plant, not too many people had the inside on. He did. So, he has pretty good sources, a pretty good track record, and he tries to be careful to say these things until he's very confident about it because he doesn't want to mislead anyone. So I just want to point out that, when leaks happen, sometimes, he's confident he's coming from multiple sources, but sometimes, there is falsified info being sent out, or something's lost in translation, or plans change. All those things are elements that could sometime make a legitimate leak not be real, right? So even if when you're a legit leaker with legit sources, those other things could lead to what your information you have not being real. But I think he's right. But here's where it gets really interesting. It's kind of like a drama, because shortly after he posted that, and a whole bunch of people shared that, like Papa Gino's, a lot of the big Smash tubers started talking about the Ryu Hayabusa leak from Shifty. Then information came out from one of Nintendo's websites showing an SNK rights reservation on the Challenger Pack 4. SNK is not at all related to Ninja Gaiden. Those are two different things. I believe Ninja Gaiden is from Tecmo, so it's different, separate, completely separate. So that would imply, and this is that Ryu Hayabusa is not the fourth Challenger Pack. And I do believe that, and some people already come out and said it, right? That the next pack is Terry Bogard from Fatal Fury. He's basically kind of like a Street Fighter. Fatal Fury is like a Street Fighter clone, kinda. There's very similar. There are differences. Fatal Fury has introduced some really important fighting mechanics over the years. I've looked, but I didn't know too much about it beforehand. I have played them, but it's kind of one of those things where I go into an arcade and I play it. I don't really care about the name. You know what I mean? There's a lot of fighting games at arcades. You just okay, it's our fighting game. I'm just gonna play it. So I have played it, but I've never been really into the series before. So, but now I'm doing more research, looking more into it, because I do think Terry Bogard is happening. People already come out and said it, and he is a poster boy for Fatal Fury. And it would make sense for SNK to put him in. So I do think Terry Bogard is the next challenger, especially because we literally saw the rights reserved on Nintendo's website, right, from SNK. But does that mean that Ryu Hayabusa from Ninja Gaiden isn't happening? Well, no, not necessarily, because there's still 2 packs. Mm-hmm. It could be that Terry Bogard is going to be announced tomorrow, and that Ryu Hayabusa will be the final pack. And now what makes this even more interesting, I would say, is that there was a leak that talked about both these 2 characters being the final 2 characters, and it even talked about how their reveal trailers would be. It talked about how it brought up how Banjo's trailer was basically a continuation of the King K. Rool trailer, right? Remember that, Brandon?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what they're suggesting is that with Terry Bogard, it's going to be a continuation of the Ken and Incineroar trailer. So we'll see him introduced in the boxing ring, and then Ryu Hayabusa would be a continuation of the Simon and Richter Belmont trailer.
Okay. Right.
So tomorrow, if the next challenger is announced and it's Terry Bogard, right, from Fatal Fury, and the trailer shows him off in a fighting ring, then I would say that leak is legitimate, and then Ryu Hayabusa for sure is the final 5th character, and we'll eventually see him in a trailer as well, kind of extending off of the original Simon Belmont trailer.
Right.
So that's what I'm kind of thinking is actually happening, because one, I trust Shifty. He wouldn't report something if he didn't have that information. Again, take it with a grain of salt, because you never really know until it's actually confirmed, but that's what I think is happening.
I could see that happening. I definitely think those are probably that was an interesting sentence. I definitely think probably. I definitely think that those are going to be the final two characters, most likely. So, I'm just confused why Ryu Hayabusa would be extended off from Simon's trailer. Because, like, Banjo was because it was a very rare group. You know, it made sense. Like, Banjo's from Rare. Rare's also done Donkey Kong and King K. Rool.
Yeah.
But the other ones don't fit as well.
Terry makes a lot of sense, actually.
Terry makes more sense.
Because there's been a Marvel vs. SNK. There have been matchups of Ken and Terry, and they're also very similar looking characters. They're both red. They have fiery moves. They both have blonde hair, and their series are very similar. That one makes
sense. But I don't understand why Ryu Hayabusa would be for Simon.
Just because it's
Hero
dark.
Just got his own.
Just dark and bloody. That's it. Dark, bloody, demonic. They both deal with demonic forces. Like... They both deal with demonic forces, and they're both dark series. Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty much it from what I know. I don't know too much about the. I actually don't know that much about Castlevania either. Like I played a couple of them, and I love them, but I haven't played the entire series, so I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm a Castlevania expert either. But they both deal with demonic forces.
Okay, then that makes more sense. I was just curious as to why they would be matched up, because I don't know too much about them either, and it didn't make too much sense.
I'll also say that Ken and Garfield, and Incineroar, aren't that similar. They're just both They're fighters. So,
right, but they were also being announced at the same time, so that's why. That made sense.
Yeah. That's just what the leak is. It could be wrong. Right. And even if the leak is wrong, it doesn't mean that Ryu Hayabusa and Terry Bogard aren't wrong, right? Like, so if you have two, it's it's reliable information suggesting Terry Bogard from Fatal Fury, and there's reliable information suggesting Ryu Hayabusa from Ninja Gaiden. So they both could be right. So I guess we'll find out, right? Mm-hmm. But I am expecting Terry to be announced tomorrow.
Right.
Now, assuming this is true, and you seem to agree this is likely the case, how do you feel about it?
I don't care about that character at all. Maybe I will when they show it. Maybe it'd be like Hero.
I think you're gonna warm up to Terry Bogard. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he's actually a really cool character. I know a lot of people are upset about it because like, oh, just another fighter, it's just a Street Fighter clone, but he is an important character in an important fighting series that has done a lot for the industry. It's been around for years. He is a big part of gaming history. He does make sense. And then if anything, bringing him in will bring more relevance to that series. And it could spell for something really nice.
Yeah. And we have SNK heroines on the Switch, so maybe we'll get another one.
And actually, maybe there could be an alt-female of Terry.
Right, people were talking about that in the conference.
Yeah, I really want that, honestly. Yeah. But I do understand your point. Like, it isn't something that your typical Nintendo fan will be a fan of. And it's not so much that the Nintendo fan wouldn't like the game, it's just like a lot of SNK games have not been on Nintendo systems.
Yeah.
Barely.
The one that's on the Switch is all the females, but it also feels like a very... what's the word? I'm trying to figure out the word I'm trying to look for. It seemed obviously pushed, like there's a lot of boob physics and things like that. Like I can't think of the word. It seemed very obvious that they were going ham on the female aspect.
Lewd and perverse.
No, I guess those aren't really the words I was thinking. Yeah, that more so. I'm thinking like the anime term. What do you call that?
Waifus?
Like when an anime is obviously...
The weebs.
Whatever. All of those work. It's just not the word I was looking for. But yeah, it's a very much like most people would look at that game like, oh, only like creepy people play that.
Yes. I didn't buy it.
Fan service. It seems very fan servicey. That's the word I was looking for.
Okay.
It seemed like they were very pushing the fan service. The only game we really have, I feel like most people didn't take it seriously because it seemed like a fan service game.
I see. I'm all for fan service. I think fans should be serviced.
Right. a different type.
I don't know. I appreciate it.
You know what I mean.
I think it's fine. I don't mind.
No,
it.
it's
yeah.
fun. It's just kind of like.
I mean, I don't buy a game. I've never bought a game for fan service. I buy games if they're good.
Right.
You know. But I like what Shadow of Nexus Adam, he said it's because they're both Castlevania and Ninja Gaiden, both two classic NES franchises. This is in relation to what's the connection between Ninja Gaiden and Castlevania. That's another good point. They are two classic NES franchises. They're both. Sense. I can see that. That's one of the reasons why I'm actually excited to see Ninja Gaiden Ryu Hayabusa in Smash Bros. To see that NES design redone, as opposed to them using one of the newer designs. Because that's what they did with the Castlevania characters. They redid the old design for the NES franchise, and that's really awesome. So looking forward to see how it's going to look.
I don't think they were doing the new Ninja Gaiden stuff because
it's going to be different, and that's really. I'm really excited to see how it's going to look. I really am. I think it's going to be cool.
What game do you think they would tie in for Ninja Gaiden? Because
no idea.
A good game in a while.
No idea. Maybe that theory is also going to die tomorrow. Technically, we already got SNK Heroines. Right. I think there could be is there any classic SNK? I think there are already some SNK games on the Switch eShop as well, like the Neo Geo games. It's probably there. But could there be like a newer SNK game? I don't know. Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. The Ninja Gaiden one is weird. I don't know what we could get with that. Maybe there is a Ninja Gaiden game in the works. I think I heard something about a Ninja Gaiden game announced for PS4 recently. Maybe that could also be ported to Switch. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
We'll have to wait and see, because we're not even... for the record, I don't expect Ryu Hayabusa to be announced tomorrow. Right, so this could be something that won't be talked about till early next year.
Right.
So we have a while.
Game Awards.
Maybe. I really... Okay. Actually... What if they did announce a new Ninja Gaiden game at the Game Awards, and they also had the That's an interesting idea. It would be interesting, because there are a lot of new game premieres there, right? Mm-hmm. That aren't necessarily for Nintendo. So this is an interesting idea. There might be something to that. We'll see. But I think it'd be cool. But I also agree that these characters, while they're cool, and I think I'm going to like them, it is definitely not something that appeals directly to a Nintendo fan. But at the same time, I feel like when you look at these different characters, there's something to them trying to appeal to a very wide audience. Like, Terry Bogard, apparently at the SNK games, Fatal Fury, they're really popular in Latin America, South America, right? Hero's popular in the East, Banjo's popular in the West, right? Like, it looks like they're trying to really appeal to different parts of the world here. Like, it's they're trying to make the Fighters Pass to appeal to a lot of people, and I think that's something that people that don't necessarily take into consideration. There are a lot of fans all around the world, and there are so many people who want different kinds of characters in Smash Brothers. You can never make anyone happy, so maybe they tried really hard to just bring in a very well encompassing Fighters Pass. It's bring in popular characters that are important to gaming history, that have kind of like strong fan bases from different parts of the world, which does lead to the situations where, like, hey, I've never even heard of that character, that's dumb, right? But there's at least one character in there that probably will make you happy, right? Mm-hmm. So Banjo for me is like, I'm over the moon for that.
Yeah,
completely over the moon for that.
Banjo is also kind of like the, hardcore Nintendo fan character as well as like being popular in the West. So they made sure to get at least like one character where it's like, if you're a hardcore Nintendo fan, you probably care about this character.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they didn't go all just characters that are completely like Joker, like maybe Nintendo fans care about him, but like Banjo, he's a third-party character, but he said feel like a third-party character.
No, and that's what makes it so special. Absolutely. But I think that's an interesting point. It can kind of segue into another idea I want to talk about. It's that even though that I think they tried to appeal to a large audience with these characters, they're all third-party characters, right? Mm. They don't have any Nintendo characters. It looks like it's gonna be all third-party, right? Mm. Which does that mean that maybe there could be a second Fighters Pass? Maybe it's a little smaller. Maybe it'll introduce like 3 new characters with a really awesome new mode or something. But it's like a Nintendo pack, right? Like, what if they do something like that?
Yeah, because
for next year,
we didn't get that many. Even in the base roster, there weren't. Like, there was a lot of third-party characters.
It was more about bringing back everyone.
Yeah.
Right, and making sure everything's balanced, because it's a huge roster. Like, they have to... The larger the roster is, the harder and harder it is to balance the game.
Mm-hmm. I just feel like so far, we've gotten a lot of third... Like, we've definitely also gotten a lot of first-party. We got, Isabelle and... God, why cannot Metroid...
Ridley, King K. Rool, Dark Samus...
So we definitely did get some, but we also got a lot of third-party characters as well. So, like, more than usual, I feel like when Smash games usually come out, like, there's, like, that 1 or 2 third parties, and then you got, like, everybody else's first. This time it was very much, like, 50-50 on third parties. And now with the DLC, there might even be more new third-party characters than first-party characters. Other than, obviously, the ones they're bringing back, but I don't count those because they were in past games.
Yeah. I see your point. I want a Nintendo pack, man. I want Geno. I want Rex and Pyra. Maybe with a Mythra as an alt, right? Or both. And personally, I would like to see a Dixie Kong, Pseudo Echo, and an Impa Echo. Those are characters I want in Smash, personally, that are Nintendo characters. Geno's technically not Nintendo, but it's kind of like a Banjo situation.
Right.
Yeah, and I think if Geno was in that pack, no one would be like, oh, this is not a Nintendo character, how dare you? No, people would be crying in joy if Geno was in the next Nintendo pack.
I'd be screaming, and I've never even played Super Mario RPG. I just know the hype.
He's had a cult following for years, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would like to see that. And I think they could pull it off if, like I said, like I do understand that the more characters you introduce, the harder it is to balance the game. So I do not expect if there is a second pack, and there might not be. So like, we're speculating because there is no DLC for new Nintendo characters, that maybe there could be another, right? Because they haven't really spoken to that. Like in terms of DLC, we just got Piranha Plant. But that might just be it. They might be like, hey, we have all the Nintendo characters we could possibly want. But I think that there is room to introduce a few more.
Right. So, especially since I don't when's the next Smash game gonna be?
Long time. I think it's gonna be a long time. I think it's gonna be years. We will probably have children by then.
We might.
Maybe me. I'm older than you.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, at least until the next Switch, and then even then, I don't think they're probably gonna port Smash Ultimate.
I just feel like Smash Ultimate's just gonna be like the game for a long time.
Maybe what they could do is when they port Smash Ultimate to the next Switch,
they just have an expansion.
Have another Fighters Pass then. Maybe they don't want to have a Fighters Pass directly after. Give Sakurai a little bit of a break. A couple of years later.
Yeah, they could do like a special edition of Smash Ultimate a couple of years from now.
Right.
I could see that. Kind of maybe like a Mario Kart 8 Deluxe sort of scenario.
Yeah, because I'm 100% confident they're gonna port this game to the Switch 2 or whatever.
Maybe.
Comes next.
Or maybe the system will be backwards compatible and it won't matter.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's probably true because they'll have a similar form factor. They'll probably have the same cartridges,
right.
So it might just be.
In which case, what they can do is, if they want to like re-push Smash, they could be like, "Hey, here's an expansion."
Right.
Maybe.
Maybe that's when we'll get the second Fighters Pass. Because I kind of don't think, even if we do get a second Fighters Pass, it'll be like right after this one.
Mm-hmm.
I think there'll be at least like a few months. Like maybe the next character could have come out, like the first character in the next Fighters Pass could come out like holiday 2020.
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
I'm thinking there's gonna be a gap. I don't think it's gonna be like, okay,
no, there's gonna be a
February rolls around, there's the last Fighters Pass, and April or June, the next one comes out. It's like, no, I don't think it's gonna be that
maybe
soon.
What would you like to see though? Like, do you want exactly what I said, or is there anything else you want to like?
I need to think about it, but I definitely, obviously, I want Rex and Pyra. I would love.
I feel like Geno and Rex and Pyra are the two hard-hitting ones.
Right. I don't really care about Geno though, personally.
Mm-hmm.
As far as new, I'd have to think about it.
And like, what if there's a second Fighters Pass, but it's more than just a Fighters Pass. It's like they introduce a new mode. Like, what if they introduce like a new adventure mode, or like an addition to World of Light or something, right? And Geno's relevant to that story, like a new story mode. Maybe they add a new story mode.
One with actual story.
Maybe.
That'd be great.
Maybe like a shorter Subspace Emissary. Right.
I'd like that. And
with that, they add Geno, Rex and Pyra, a couple Echoes, and Dixie Kong, Impa. Those are the ones that come to mind. I haven't brought up any others. Now they could also maybe bring some spirits into and bring them back, make them actual new characters. Shovel Knight, Shantae come to mind. Those would be really cool. Now the one thing, well, actually, Shovel Knight's is more than just he's an actual assist trophy.
Yeah, he probably wouldn't.
I would not expect assist trophies to make a change because they are already assist trophies.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't expect it, but I don't think it's impossible. I know someone's like, it's not possible. They are assist trophy. I know that it's highly unlikely, but that doesn't mean it's impossible, right? That assist trophies could be made into characters. I just think it's really unlikely. I don't think it should be expected at all, but I'm just gonna put it out there. What if, like, there are characters that are wanted, like what if Isaac or Shovel Knight, or dare I even say Waluigi, are made into actual characters, and it's just one of those situations where, hey, there's an assist trophy and a character for them. Get over it. Not a big deal.
We need the Astral Chain protagonists. That's who we need. That's who I want.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's a great idea. For a new Nintendo. There you go. Or Edelgard.
No, not another Fire Emblem.
Edelgard's awesome. Screw you. She has a big axe.
No,
big axe. Big strong axe.
No.
She's got horns. She's awesome.
We already have enough Fire Emblem.
But she has an axe.
We need Octopath Traveler characters. We need Cyrus. He's my boy. He kills everybody.
Monty Mole from Super Mario Party.
There you go.
Monty Mole. He's got to be in. Yeah, we can move on from the DLC stuff, unless there's anything else you have to bring on to that. There's a fair bit of conversation here. Again, guys, if you at me, that's something I'll definitely address. But I saw
every comment is an at.
Some people asking about Pokemon news, and that's already confirmed. Pokemon Sword and Shield will be discussed tomorrow. And I think that's actually a great thing we can move on to. Pokemon Sword and Shield. We did not expect that to be at this Direct. That's a surprise. But I brought up earlier that maybe the reason they're doing that is because they really want to push it to, more than just a typical Pokemon fan base.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious about how much they're going to show. I think it's a possibility that they won't show. I think it's either going to be something very big or something that's like tiny. I don't think there's going to be any in between.
So here's my problem. If you're going to go ahead and say, we're going to focus on Luigi's Mansion 3 and Pokemon Sword and Shield, and then you do a 1-minute trailer on Pokemon Sword and Shield and call it a day, that's not okay. It's not.
They have, not that drastic, but they've done certain things like that before. Like the Direct that was supposed to focus on Fire Emblem had like one trailer for the game. That was it. It was not even that long. Didn't even tell that much. So it's not like when they say they focus on games, they don't always actually like go all in. Because I feel like they don't even need to. Like the 2 games they picked, they don't need to. Luigi's Mansion 3, we don't need any new information about that game. Like, unless there's some crazy.
Well, for Sword and Shield, I need more new info. Personally.
Yeah. The thing is, though, that they're already giving us like trailers like every week.
Right. Right. So
I'm wondering if they're just giving like the trailers that would have come out, but they're putting them in the Direct to give them more publicity.
Maybe.
Like, I think it would be a little bit more than that we usually get in those, but I think it might be along.
Maybe they'll announce a new mode, or some post-game content that's kind of insane.
Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe.
I'm thinking it might be like
Battle
the amount
Frontier.
of content for like 2 of those updates that we usually get. I don't think it's gonna be like 5 minutes of insane Pokemon news or anything like that.
Right. Oh, well, actually, I see Science just said, all we will get for Sword and Shield is Starter Evolutions. I doubt we will see any more than that.
We might see Starter Evolutions. That'd actually be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think we could see Starter Evolutions. Computer Robots added me, if they call it a day so early, like they close the direct for 20 minutes instead of the 45 minutes on, just please don't have a mental breakdown. I wouldn't have a mental breakdown, I'd just be, like, surprised, because there's no way that's going to happen. Yeah. But I don't... It wouldn't surprise me, though, if the direct ends up being more like 37, 38 minutes, because they said roughly 40, right? Like, that could just be them rounding up. So, we'll see.
Yeah, they're not going to say, tune in for 37.5 minutes. Like, what?
Yeah. I see Mastermind just said, I just want to know more info about towns. I'm just annoyed at Pokemon just a little. Well, I think Pokemon Sword and Shield is going to be great, and you should give it a try, Mastermind. But towns, I think, could be mentioned tomorrow.
Forgot about Town. Town means something, because they have to talk
It keeps being forgotten because it's never brought up.
Yeah.
Maybe Nintendo forgot about it, too. Maybe that's why they haven't talked about it. They just forgot. Like, everyone forgot. Maybe the guys at Game Freak forgot.
Forgot it exists.
Yeah, it's like, oh, right. We have this game. Oh, we haven't talked about it all year. Holy crap, it's supposed to come out tomorrow.
Are you guys still, like, actually working on that game? You know?
Yeah, it's coming out tomorrow. You didn't see our emails? Oh, they were all in the spam folder. My bad.
Oh.
I thought you were just...
the people who are actually working on the game forgot to. They haven't been working on it the whole time.
Yeah.
That's why it's getting delayed.
I think we'll see it tomorrow, and we will at least get some sort of window of when it's coming out.
Like, I think we'll see it, and then they'll announce it for like spring 2020.
Yeah, I could see that.
Maybe summer.
That makes sense. I see spring. I think spring makes sense. Yeah. Actually,
I mean, if it's gonna get delayed, I don't think it'll get delayed like a long time.
No.
So it was supposed to come out this year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
If anything, maybe they brought in the town team to help work on Sword and Shield a little bit more. And which could be the reason for the delay, just to kind of focus on Sword and Shield a little bit. But I agree with you. I think sometime next year. I feel like spring just kind of resonates with me a little bit more.
Yeah, and we don't know like much about next year.
No, we know nothing. Well, that's a whole other thing we can get. I want to the 2020 things. I want to save that for a little bit. But there's a lot there. A lot. I want to check some of these questions though first. Brandon Stallion added me. I personally think that update 5.0 will be the biggest Smash update so far. I think it'll bring home run contest, break the targets, all-star mode, online squad strike, and Smashdown. And boss rush mode with Gruntilda. So here's the thing, Brandon Stallion. We talked about it in the Discord a little bit. That right there is too much.
It's too much.
That is too much. Maybe some of that, maybe one or two of those things, but all of that, if that were to happen, I would be shocked beyond belief.
I mean, we still have 2 more updates that are going to come out with the other fighters, and the last one's probably going to be the biggest, I'd imagine.
Right.
Because it's the last one.
Yeah. Brandon Stallion, if you're right, oh my god, that would be amazing, but I do not expect...
Yeah,
maybe one of those things.
The chances of every single one of those happening...
In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if we get none of those things.
Honestly, well, home run contest, I'd be surprised if we didn't get it, 'cause, like, that's been...
Well, it could come later, is what I'm saying.
I know it could. It's just kind of like, why is it not out yet?
Yeah.
I was surprised last time, because we knew the leak even before Hero came out, and I was like, why isn't it home run contest?
I don't know. It's weird. Maybe, maybe that's the thing. Maybe, home run contest is coming, and it's going to be in this next one, because the thing is, Banjo's coming out a lot sooner than expected, it seems, right? And the home run contest was in the data mine for a while, and actually, Banjo was one of those 3 codenamed characters that we knew about before we knew about them, right? So it seems that both the home run contest and Banjo were kind of already part of the early development for Smash Bros. At the beginning of this year. So maybe those 2 things are kind of both coming sooner than expected because they're both happening, right? You know what I mean? Like, I could see maybe that's why Banjo's coming sooner, because like it also was revealed alongside Hero. Like we all had gameplay for both, right? So Banjo wasn't that far off when Hero was revealed, either.
Yeah.
So, and Home Run Contest, based off that data mine, has been in the works for a while as well. So maybe that's why it seems they're coming so much sooner, because they've been kind of almost ready once Hero was out as well. So I could see Home Run Contest and Banjo coming out this month.
Yeah. I think Home Run Contest is the most likely of all of those things
that
you said.
And one random little thing, there is that move that Banjo has that is using Kazooie to smack, right? Like, what if they don't use a bat anymore for Home Run Contest? I don't know. I hope they still use a bat, but I'm just putting it out there that the Kazooie thing is used like a bat. Shadow of Nexus added me. The game is called Little Town Hero. That is true. We did see that Game Freak filed for that trademark Little Town Hero. We probably should call it Little Town Hero now, but I'm probably going to refer to it as Town forever. Yeah, it's short. Like, for example, we don't say The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild every time we say it. We just say Breath of the Wild, which is still a mouthful.
It's still pretty long.
What?
It's still pretty long.
It's still pretty long. Yeah, exactly. But yes, Town, we believe. I mean, Game Freak has officially filed the trademark Little Town Hero. There's little debate that Town is also Little Town Hero, but technically it's not confirmed. But it is. It is. I don't doubt it. Mastermind. I will get both Sword and Shield, but I just want to know more about Town. Like, they barely have any info. Like, what if it gets canned? I hope not. I don't think it's gonna get it canned, because Game Freak just filed for the Little Town Hero trademark. So don't worry about that. But I do think we should get info sooner or later. Core Bliss. I'm just hoping to hear about those late December releases. Indies. There could be some indies for December. Absolutely. I am hoping for something a little bit bigger in December. Not a full-on AAA game, but like an HD port.
I don't know if they show them in this direct.
The indies? No, not the indies, but that HD port. If it's gonna happen, I think it'll be in this direct. Yeah. Recessive Gamer, do you think there will be something Minecraft related in the direct? Minecon Live is 3.5 weeks, so I feel like there could be a bit of Minecraft Dungeons to drop hype.
They could talk about that game.
That game was announced at E3, right?
E3,
yeah. It looked cool. So
if
they could talk about that again, I could see it.
Let's see why not.
Yeah, for sure. Especially, is it coming out later this year? If so, then I could see it being showed off one more time.
Let me see when it's coming out. If I can.
Shadow of Nexus is watching this on his Wii U. That's very important.
No, it's coming out next year.
Oh, is it? Okay. Well, then maybe it won't show up.
It doesn't have a specific release date.
If it's coming out next year, I actually don't expect to see it tomorrow.
Yeah. Probably not, just because it's not a Nintendo specific thing.
Right. Sinus Joe, what do you think about Xenoblade X HD or a port being announced tomorrow? It would come. It would come out in December like most Xenoblade games. Also, there's no December game yet. Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I think that's possible. I just want to point out that Xenoblade Chronicles X is already in HD, but maybe it could come at 1080p. Right, I don't think Xenoblade X was 1080p on the Wii U.
No, it was 720p.
Right, so it could be kind of like it could get upscale a little bit, not upscale, just better resolution, just improve the graphics a little bit, have it in 1080 instead of 720. Like we were talking about earlier, that there was that person that's related to Xenoblade that did retweet it, and normally that only happens when Monolith announces something. So, hopefully they do announce something. I think there needs to be a December game, and if you think about it, right. What kind of game would be a great kind of holiday-style release? Because the thing is, Luigi's Mansion 3 is cool, right? But it's no Super Mario Odyssey, right? And Pokemon Sword and Shield is awesome, but it's also Pokemon. It's no Zelda, it's no Mario, it's no Metroid. It's not like that big holiday-style kind of release. It's not a Smash Brothers. It's big. I'm not trying to say it's not big, but it's also not an internal thing made by Nintendo, right? So, one game that makes sense would be a Xenoblade game, actually, right? Like you mentioned, Xenoblade games have come out in December. Xenoblade 2 came out in December. I think Xenoblade Chronicles X came out. It took up a holiday slot during one of the Wii U years. Yeah. So I could see an enhanced Xenoblade X port coming out this December. That could actually be really awesome. It is something that I think really deserves to have another go around. It didn't sell as well as it could have because of the Wii U. It's something that I think, if marketed correctly with the appropriate enhancements, would do really, really well. Because it's a beautiful game. It's gonna feel like a modern game now. In terms of like quality of life enhancements, I think what they need to do is fix the text. Obviously, they have to adapt the game for the Switch with the whole map thing, but that might make things better. It might make the map easier to use. Probably. And it would be nice if they add a little bit of extra content. Maybe add like an epilogue story chapter with a few more side quests, and maybe add a few more additions to the online mode. Clean it up a little bit. Also, the encyclopedia, clean it up in terms of being able to organize and find items in the overworld, because that was really hard with some of the side missions. But but if you do all that, I think the game will be really, really good.
An interesting thing. I was gonna save this for a video, but also the video plan got changed. Anyways, I'm gonna talk about it here as well. I might talk about it in the videos in more depth. But there are certain job listings on Monolith's website that specifically ask for people who are knowledgeable about the Wii U. Specifically, and none of the other ones ask. There's like 3 or 4, and none of the other ones ask for this at all or mention any systems. But this one specifically asks for, I think it's like Wii U and Xbox 360 and some other platforms, like older platforms. But the first one mentioned was always like the Wii U. So I don't understand why they would ask. I thought, and I was gonna make a video on this, but I haven't yet. But I'll talk about it here anyways. It's kind of spoilers for a video, but whatever. I thought maybe it was related to a Xenoblade Chronicles export, because that's the only thing that I could think of. It's like, why would you need people who are used to working on older hardware?
That makes so much sense, Brandon.
So, you heard it here first.
That is really good point, Brandon. Dude, Xenoblade X Enhanced Port December. It's happening, guys. Confirmed. It's not confirmed.
It's not confirmed.
Just speculation, guys. Take it with a grain of salt, but I damn feeling that. Like, now, I'm going to change my prediction. I no longer think Pikmin 3 is coming out this December. I think it's Xenoblade X. I mean, it could still be...
Could be both.
It could be both. Well, I think both could maybe be announced. I just know both are coming out this December. I think they could announce both. One comes out early next year. The other one comes out December.
That's also possible. I mean, I guess they could, just because they're ports, have one early December and have the other one later in December. But I agree.
It makes more sense to have one of those come out in January or February.
Pikmin would make more sense as a January game.
Oh, yeah, I feel that. I do. I really do. Yeah, maybe. Small possibility, maybe they'd want to give Xenoblade X more time to be marketed, but it's a port. How much do they really market and push ports? Like, they're not going to push it like Astral Chain, for example.
Right. I mean, there's a few months already in between now and December, so I think there's plenty of time.
Yeah. Now, one thing, though, is that Daemon X Machina looks a little bit like Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Yeah, they don't play it all like.
No, they completely different games, but they both have flying mechs. I could see how there could be like that can maybe get in the way a little bit, right?
I guess. Yeah. Also, one of them's coming out this month though, and we've seen a lot about it before, so I feel like if they were both gonna get announced, then that might be a little bit weird. But like, we've seen Daemon X Machina many times before. And everybody knows that game plays nothing like Xenoblade. I think it'd be pretty obvious. Maybe people who don't keep up with Nintendo at all might be confused, but I think most people would understand.
Mm-hmm. So I see Gorman Escobar. He says he's new here, but he's asking, do you guys think there will be a Splatoon 3? I
made
might
a video on this. Actually, because the developer themselves said they're not really working on Splatoon 3
for now. I wouldn't expect it sooner. I wouldn't expect it anytime soon.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't expect it probably until the next Switch, to be honest.
Right. There will definitely, just to be clear, there will definitely be a Splatoon 3. Splatoon 3 will happen again someday. It's really a question of when and on what system.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be like an early Switch 2 release, kind of like Splatoon was for the normal Switch.
Right.
Because I don't think they need another Splatoon on this console, and even the developers said that they're, I mean, if they are working on it, they're in the planning stages, essentially.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. I think we're a few years away from it. I could see it being an early next Switch title, or if it could maybe somehow make it out for like end of life cycle for this Switch, but I'm not expecting it. Yeah. But yes, NK, we're having the podcast on a Tuesday. I could not do this yesterday, so. But now we know there's a Nintendo Direct, so we can do some like hard predictions.
Works
some hard last minute predictions. It's a pre-show. It's literally what it is.
Yeah.
Silence Joe saying Reggie said in an interview they want to make Splatoon 3 and ARMS 2. I don't know which interview you are speaking on, but I do think both franchises will eventually get sequels. Definitely Splatoon. ARMS is something that could maybe not, but I could see it happening.
Also, keep in mind, Reggie said that the actual like lead developer on Splatoon 2 said that they're not.
Right, Reggie's not necessarily the most.
That's a lot more important than Reggie saying.
Yeah, I agree. Reggie said many things in the past and they haven't come to pass.
And it's much more recent.
Not that Reggie doesn't have any credibility. Like, Reggie says something, right. You definitely consider it. And I don't think what Reggie said, assuming I'm interpreting correctly, because I haven't seen that interview, necessarily goes against the Splatoon developer either, right?
Yeah.
Just because they're not working on Splatoon 3 now doesn't mean that there isn't a desire to make a Splatoon 3, right? So they don't necessarily conflict with each other, but depending on how they're interpreted, it could be misleading. Brandon Stallion added me. Speaking of Splatoon, do you think we could get a Splatoon spin-off, like Splatoon Racing, for example? Maybe it could be called Splatoon Racers. Splatoon characters are already in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, so not specifically a Splatoon Racing, but could there be a Splatoon spin-off at all? I don't know.
Pretty unlikely.
I mean, maybe a Splatoon mobile game, actually.
That could happen.
A Splatoon mobile game I could see.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think the need for a Splatoon spin-off is really there. I don't see it happening.
I could see a Splatoon mobile game happening, just not a spin-off like on the main console.
Yeah.
Stab64, yeah, I heard about Reggie teaching at some college. I did hear about that.
Yeah, Cornell, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Shadow of Nexus added me. What would be your dream announcements? Mine would be a new Disaster Day of Crisis or a remaster of it on the Wii. Great game that nobody played. Didn't that game get... No, it did come out. Right. I got it confused with Project Hammer. Project Hammer never happened. Disaster Day of Crisis did come out. I never played it, but that would be an interesting game to see because it was a game about dealing with natural disasters. So that would be really, really awesome to see a new game of, actually. I would love that. A remaster would be decent too, but that would be really, really cool to see. For sure.
Dream game.
My dream game, though. My dream game is Breath of the Wild 2.
That exists.
Yeah. My other dream game... Oh, I've talked about this before on the channel, man. I really want to see a new 3D Donkey Kong game, right? Like with really like slick, fast-moving platforming, like kind of like moving around the jungle like Tarzan. Like that'd be amazing. Imagine sliding on branches and flowing through vines, and then pummeling things because he's Donkey Kong.
Both of us have made videos on this.
I don't know if I made a video on it, but it's definitely...
You've talked about it on the podcast. I've made a video on it. So we're both really into that idea. I guess off the top of my head, a dream game would be a full remake of the original Xenoblade Chronicles. From the ground up remake. Dude, that'd be epic as hell.
That'd be beautiful.
Mario 64 remake, because that game desperately needs it. It doesn't have any good versions that hold up anymore. There's not really a good way of playing Mario 64. It's kind of the N64 version, obviously super low resolution, low quality graphics.
I want a 3D.
The DS version.
I want a new 3D Earthbound game. I want what they were trying to do with Earthbound 64, except I want it to actually happen for the modern era. That's what I want.
I want a Paper Mario game that's actually good. I feel like that's a little less stream because I feel like that can actually happen.
You know what else I want? You know, that's a good one. But another one I want is that 2011 Wii U tech demo for Zelda. It looked amazing with the giant spider in the church.
Yes.
I want a whole game that looks like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe after Breath of the Wild 2.
Maybe. I also want Metroid Prime 4. Metroid Prime 4 is a dream game.
Yeah,
that's actually going to come out someday. There's a lot of dream games, man.
Banjo Kazooie remake. That's what I mean.
Remake? Banjo 3.
See, my problem is I'm not convinced that depending on who the developer is, I'm not convinced that they could make a good Banjo 3.
I think it would be
Nintendo would need to
Banjo 3 collaborative effort between Microsoft Studios, Rare, and Nintendo.
There you go.
See, it's a huge collaborative effort.
I would take over Banjo remake, but if just Rare handles it,
heck, actually, to make it really interesting, right? Because it would make more sense. All right, so we're talking about dream scenarios here, so I'm allowed to get crazy with this, right? It would make more sense to have a singular team work on it. So both Microsoft and Nintendo agree to create a joint studio that develops games for both Xbox and Nintendo, and they set it up in the States, and actually maybe they even set it up close to Retro Studios in Texas. And they may do some sort of collaborations, but it's a new studio, and that studio makes Banjo 3.
That'd be epic.
It'd be amazing. It will never happen.
No.
Actually, well, I mean, it seems crazy now, but we're getting Banjo Kazooie and Smash Brothers, right? Microsoft is publishing games on the Switch. Granted, they are indie games, but they are publishing games on the Switch. These are things that no one would ever have dreamed of 5 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. No one have ever dreamed of Blizzard Entertainment or Bethesda publishing on Nintendo either. That's happening as well, right? So you never know what could happen in the future. I think the door is open for a lot of possibilities moving forward. So
you know what that reminded me of?
What?
Actually, talking about developers that hardly ever put their games on Nintendo, or at least some of their games. Why do we not have Call of Duty on Nintendo? Where is that?
I think I heard the Modern Warfare might be coming. That might be announced tomorrow.
I don't think the new game will come.
I think it's so stupid. Think about that for a second. I just brought up. We're getting Microsoft, Blizzard, and Bethesda publishing on Nintendo. They've never published there might be a couple exceptions, but for the most part, they've never published on Nintendo systems. All of those companies are publishing on Nintendo, and yet Activision and EA are not bringing over a lot of their biggest games.
Yeah.
And the Switch is getting third parties.
At least Activision brought Crash Team Racing and Spyro. They have 2 games this year. They just don't have their biggest games.
Weird. It's weird. It's stupid. I think it's dumb, but I also don't care that much, because
I think we could get Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered, but not Modern Warfare Reboot that's coming out this year, just because that game it could happen, but it needs a panic button port.
I think that's probably what it is. They just feel like they need a separate studio, and it's just too expensive.
They would have to have a separate studio to port the new game. Now, Call of Duty Warfare Remaster is a remaster of an Xbox 360 game.
Part of the problem is probably because they're coming out with Call of Duty every single year. Right, with a lot of these other games.
They do have 3 studios, though, so they actually take 3 years to make each one. So it's not like they're making one. No, it's not like Pokemon where they have
Right. No, I understand that, but my point is simply that with these other games that are coming from different companies, it's not like the sequel's right around the corner necessarily, right? So they can, once the game's been out for a year or 2, then they can put a team on it to work on it. But with Call of Duty, they can maybe do that, but the next big game's coming out really soon. So it's kind of like a little bit of a marketing issue. Like,
I think
about it, man. Do you really think Switch fans want to get an old Call of Duty on Switch while everyone gets a new one elsewhere at the same time? I just think that's freaking dumb.
The thing is, Modern Warfare Remastered is like, among the Call of Duty community, that's like a huge game.
Okay.
And people, that's kind of like the Halo 2. Like, people will play that game forever. They'll play it forever. It's like World of Warcraft Classic. They're gonna play it forever. It's always gonna be a thing.
Well, let me ask you a question.
If it was on the Switch, people will be interested,
well,
I think.
If we get it, I'll see it. I'll decide if I want it.
You probably won't want it.
Maybe. Well, I sometimes get Call of Duty. I sometimes get it. But we're now in an age of Battle Royale games that are free to play, so maybe not.
I don't really like that.
That's the thing. I mean, Apex Legends and Fortnite have been very fun for me. But I want to a couple things. One, just touch on Overwatch, and then I want to get to Halo. Overwatch. We agree it's definitely happened. Like, is there any real debate for that?
Yeah, there's a little debate that it's gonna happen.
Right, so it's probably gonna be announced tomorrow.
God, I forgot to predict that in the video I made today.
You oofed, my dude. You oofed.
I did.
Yeah, because that was an easy one. That's a gimme.
That was an easy one.
You messed up. Put it in your pinned comment. Oh, Overwatch. Just saying.
Yeah.
I
need to make a pinned comment. Overwatch.
How much do you think it'll cost? $70.
$60. I don't know. How much is it on the other system?
I don't know.
How much is
I'm pretty sure it's like dirt cheap on Steam. I feel like you probably get the game for like less than $20.
Do they sell it on Steam?
I don't know.
No.
I don't play Overwatch. I have no idea.
Let's see how much it is on battle.net whenever it is.
$7.99. I'm joking. I have no idea.
$40 for the it's $20 for the standard edition, $40 for the legendary edition. There's no way this game is more than $30 on Switch. Otherwise, Ho's mad. Cause
yeah,
damn.
I see your point. Yeah, I don't expect it to be cheap. Not at all.
That is $20 for the normal version of this game.
Yeah, I see it. Alfonso brought he just said Metroid Prime 4 announcement. I would love that they have something on Metroid Prime 4 tomorrow, but I also think there's no way that's... not no way, it's just really unlikely.
There is a 1% chance because there has to be a percent, otherwise it'd be 0.
It's like of all the things Nintendo would bring up tomorrow, that's like really, really down there. Unless... God. I hate it. This is super wishful thinking. I think it's super wishful thinking. But hypothetically speaking, if Metroid Prime 4 were to come out next year, and I do not think it's coming out next year. I do not think that. But if it were to come out next year, I could maybe see them dropping like a short trailer for it in this direct. Right? Kind of like the way they did it.
If it was going to come out next year, but there's no way.
I don't think it's coming out next year.
Such a little amount of possibility.
This is what I think is happening, though. I think Breath of the Wild 2 is coming out next year. I think Super Mario Odyssey 2 or some sort of 3D Mario game is also coming out next year. I think that might be teased during this direct, right? And then next year at E3, what's going to happen is that we're going to see Super Mario Odyssey at E3. We're going to see Breath of the Wild at E3, the sequels, right? And we're going to see the first gameplay for Metroid Prime 4 at E3. It's going to be kind of like the Breath of the Wild 2 from last year's E3, but next year. And Metroid Prime 4 will be a holiday 2020 game. 2021 game. 2021. No, yeah, 2021.
Yeah, 2021. It's possible. How much development time would that give them from when they rebooted? Assuming that they had to,
3 years.
When we knew about it, that's 3 years.
Well, from when we heard about it, less than 3 years. But from when they probably started, about 3 years.
It's possible.
If you assume that they restart development around November 2018, which is a guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, because we heard about the restart in January of 2019, this year. But by holiday 2021, and keep in mind, right? Retro Studios had a demo. We don't know what that was. Maybe it was a working demo. They could have expedited development, right? They could have, even though they're saying to restart development, maybe they could use some assets from that failed project to expedite the process as well, right? Retro Studios actually has a pretty good track record of getting Metroid games done quickly. Even though they haven't come up with a game in like a half a decade, they do have a good track record of getting Metroid games done quickly.
They were using the same engine, though.
So
but they also made Tropical Freeze with the same engine, so technically they could still be using that same engine.
I have no idea, man. I have no idea.
Obviously, highly upgraded as they do per game.
Right.
I mean, some people.
I will admit that I think Metroid Prime for holiday 2021 is optimistic, but I don't think it's impossible.
Right. I mean, they could be using that Metroid Prime engine. You know, one of the things that they might have been doing during all this time in between Tropical Freeze and now,
just making an awesome engine for Prime
that
Trilogy
engine
HD.
Actually good.
Yeah, maybe they're reworking engine and maybe they remade Metroid Prime Trilogy, right? Mm-hmm. Which would mean Metroid Prime Trilogy is actually a bigger deal than we thought.
Right. I mean, we've talked about this.
Which would also expedite development process for Metroid Prime 4 if they reuse that adapted engine. Yeah. Right. But we have no idea. This is all speculation.
Quickly going back to the Overwatch thing.
Yeah, go on.
It is still $60 on the PlayStation and Xbox versions. So if you go to Overwatch's site, it's $40 for the Legendary Edition on PC. But if you click also available on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, those are both $60 digitally. So obviously you could get like a used copy for less, but if you're gonna buy it on the PlayStation Store, the Xbox Store, it is $60.
Well then, could they sell the Legendary Edition for $60 on Switch?
Right, that's what it would be, the Legendary Edition.
Okay.
They don't even sell the non-Legendary Edition on the consoles.
Okay.
Because that's essentially, I think the Standard Edition is like only a certain amount of characters and content, but the Legendary Edition is like the full game, all the DLC. So it would make sense to only sell the Legendary Edition on consoles. But that's probably going to be $60, unfortunately, even though it's $40 on PC. Which is stupid. Even on the other consoles, it's like that, though. So when inevitably it gets announced for $60 on Switch, don't be like, oh my god, it's so expensive, because it's like that on the other consoles.
Right. So I actually wanted to bring up some Halo speculation, but before I do, I'm going to check some of the questions in chat. Brian Stallion asks, do you think Planet Coaster could come to Switch or even Disneyland Adventures as part of Microsoft and Nintendo's relationship? Oh, how I would love Disneyland Adventures on Switch. I'm going to be real with you. I've never played those. I don't know.
I don't know what those are.
But I will say the relationship between Nintendo and Microsoft is only growing. So that door is open for a whole bunch of games. I'm also going to say, though, that based off my very limited, non-existent knowledge of Disneyland Adventures, that I don't think that's necessarily a priority. So,
yeah, it doesn't seem like
but I don't know. So maybe
for them to put the work into that. Other thing, like the amount of people who are actually excited for that is like it's very small.
Right. Yeah. NAK asked, how would you and what about Nintendo react if Terry Bogard was revealed as fourth DLC character? Yep, that's what we expected.
We talked about that earlier.
Yeah, he wasn't here though.
I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying we're not going to go into it like completely because we already talked about it.
Right. No. Yeah, we talked about it earlier. We think Terry Bogard is the most likely fourth DLC character.
We wouldn't be surprised, but we also wouldn't be like super excited. Well, I mean, it depends. Maybe there's a kick-ass trailer.
Hey man, I don't know. I'm not a Fatal Fury SNK fan. I don't know too much about Terry Bogard. But today I was looking up a bunch of stuff, and I have played those games in arcades before. I just, like I explained earlier, they never owned the game. Haven't been too many of those games on Nintendo. But seeing the character, seeing what he could do, I think he could be one of those things where I see the character in motion, and I'm like, oh man, this is hype. Like, I can see him being a really fun character, and I think he would be cool because he does represent an important part of gaming history, and he also apparently would be appealing to a lot of Latin America, which kind of makes the Fighters Pass a very all-encompassing for different audiences around the world. So I think that's important. So I'm not in the train of, oh, this is stupid. In fact, I would say that I've been saying for a while, I would love to be surprised. So granted, I wouldn't be surprised. That's my dog scratching at the door. Great. But anyway, yeah, I would love it if I want to be surprised. And even though we kind of know it about already, right? I didn't know about it a couple days ago. So at least like this isn't something I saw coming, and I would have loved it I would love it if it's something else that has seen not coming at all. But I am kind of already sold on the Terry Bogard idea for Smash.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting question by Alexander Barroso. Nintendo Land Reggie's photo. Yeah, we still don't know what that was. I do believe. Okay, believe is a strong word. I do think there's a pretty good chance that it is related to Nintendo Land. That was Monita, man. I think that was Monita in the art. Why was that there? Why would Retro draw that? I find it hard to believe that Retro didn't do anything for 5 years. Right? They have nothing to show for it. There's no way they have nothing to show for it. Like maybe they canceled one game, but they could have made 2 full games during that time. There's no way both were there. I think Nintendo Land could be it.
I'm not sure if we'd be announcing this direct or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
I am hesitant to predict anything with Retro Studios.
Right. Yeah, I'm also hesitant to as well, but
that's why I'm going out on a limb and predicting Metroid Prime Trilogy and Nintendo. I'm just kidding.
Yes. Eventually, though, I do...
Both in this direct.
I am eventually expecting to see something from Retro Studios, and I do think, if it's anything, it's Nintendo Land or Metroid Prime Trilogy HD, or both. Yeah. So, we'll see, though. Brandon Stallion, how would you react if Master Chief got revealed? It would be a sequel to Ridley's trailer, where Master Chief takes out Ridley, leading to a splash screen, then he battled Samus.
Dude, I'd be...
That's a pretty good idea. It'd be hyped out of my mind as well. That'd be amazing.
That'd be insane.
Yeah.
Especially, not only just because I love Master Chief and I'm like a huge Halo person, but the implications for Microsoft and Nintendo
would be huge. In fact, actually,
insane. I
was listening to a bit of the Game Explain discussion thing, and it's been rumored for a while. Master Chief Collection for Switch, right? I wanted to get to this eventually. I heard the point made that it would maybe Reach first, because that's the way they're sort of doing it for PC. Right. I kind of agree with that.
Reach, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4.
I can see that happening for Switch as well. Maybe. A lot of people have been lately have been sort of saying they don't really expect for Microsoft to put those kind of games on Nintendo.
Right. There was a quote. I made a video about it. I don't think it means too much, but I don't remember the exact quote, but essentially it was somebody at Nintendo. They didn't say who, which I was kind of like, okay, probably just some random PR person. But they said they don't have any plans to put any exclusive Xbox games on other consoles. That was that's not the exact quote, but that's what they said. It's actually probably pretty close to the exact quote. It's a pretty simple quote. Anyways, they were talking about games. When they were saying this, they were talking about games from developers who they had just purchased, who had plans already to put their games on other consoles. So I think that's what they were most likely referring to. So I don't think it means too much. Also, it wasn't like anybody higher up. It was just some random they didn't even give credit, unaccredited PR person. So I don't think it meant too much. I was going to say something after this, but I forgot what it was. Oh yeah. I don't know if Halo Master Chief Collection would be released one game at a time on the Switch. I wonder if they might wait until they have all of them out on PC and release them all at once on the Switch. Because I feel like it'd be weird to essentially either have 5 different releases on the Switch or have one game with 4 DLC packs, essentially. But
that's a lot of data to take up on the Switch as well, which would be another issue with Grab Replay too, right? Both of these packs take up a lot of space.
And it'd either be a digital only game or Reach would be the only one.
I could see them taking more like a Capcom route where they just drop the different Resident Evils or they drop the different Final Fantasies like Square. They just keep dropping them.
They could do that. I'm not sure that they would.
I don't know, man. I want it.
Yeah. I feel like they could easily wait until they have them all ready and then drop them all at once.
So if you don't see anything related to Halo announced tomorrow, that's not going to impact your hope for it? Or your... Okay. Guess we'll have to wait and see. We're kind of like jumping back and forth between topics here, but like Sabbath asked, what if Retro Studios' secret projects revealed tomorrow? Again, I think the secret project is Nintendo Land 2, based off the art and it being Monita most likely. I think Metro Prime Trilogy HD has a chance to be announced tomorrow. If I had to choose either Nintendo Land or whatever the Retro's project is versus Metro Prime Trilogy HD, I'm gonna say with Metro Prime Trilogy HD, right? Because it could be one of those early 2020 games or even a December game. But I've been burned quite a many times every time I predict Metro Prime Trilogy HD, so I'm not gonna actually predict it. I'm just gonna hope for it, and if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, well, someday it will. Sabbath also asked, they could also release the Rare Replay game separately for like $10 on the eShop. Yeah, if they take every Rare Replay game and just drop it for $10 on the eShop, I actually would not mind that.
I would be so upset because it's like, what, 30, 40 games and they're $60 on the Xbox?
Okay, well, alright, that's a lot. You're right. That's a fair point. That's a fair point. Maybe
that's like $400 for a $60 game, right?
But also, like, you probably aren't going to want to play every single game. Maybe $10 for every single game wouldn't be fair.
$400 for a $60 game on the other console.
Rare Replay is a really good deal when you think about it.
I mean, they're all really old games, though. Well, most of them.
Well, okay. The $10 on the eShop for each individual game on Rare Replay is insane when you think about they can get the whole thing, for $60, right? Elsewhere. But when you compare it to everything else that's happening in the eShop, it's not crazy. Like, each of these games, if they were owned by a different company, would be sold separately for $10 on the eShop.
Right. Can they get away with that? Maybe. I feel like what would end up happening is games like Banjo would sell really well, and the other games would sell nothing.
Right. And I said Rare Replay would be $60, but I guess at this point it's like way cheaper. Right, especially if you get it used.
I imagine, though, like other games, it's going to be $60. Because that's just how it is on the Switch. It doesn't matter.
Man, I really hope it's a Rare Replay.
Xbox,
I think it's more likely just Banjo Kazooie, maybe Banjo Tooie. I really want a whole Rare Replay pack with like special content put in there. But I think it's probably just Banjo Kazooie, Banjo Tooie.
Honestly, I don't think it'd be that hard to do that versus just Banjo. Because if you get the emulator that they're using for these games working, you can just start slotting in other games pretty quickly. So, I mean, if you're gonna take the time to optimize that emulator for the Switch, you might as well put the other games in there.
I hope so, man. It could be a good testing ground for Game Pass.
Right. And there have been more quotes from Microsoft saying they want Game Pass on every console recently. I don't know the exact quote, but I've been hearing a lot about that.
Yeah. I see Matt the Gaming Man say, if they bring Rare Replay, I think they'll remove the Xbox games, Viva Pinata, Grabbed by the Ghoulies, etc., but then add Donkey Kong Country 1-3, 64, Diddy Kong Racing, and Star Fox Adventures. So I like the idea of that, but I want there to be a few rare Xbox games like Viva Pinata, for example, or Cameo. I still don't know how to pronounce it. But
I could see the Xbox 360 games not being there, right there with the 360, right? I think so. Because I think that's a different emulator used for that one, so they would be a different optimization process. They might just be like, okay, we'll just give them the SD4 games.
Makes me sad. What if they could have like an expansion later down the road for Rare Replay where they have those?
Maybe.
I want it. Okay, or is Rare Replay is not even available on PC? Like, you can only get it on Xbox. Mm-hmm. That's like the only reason for me to get an Xbox. It's like the only reason.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yes, Darcy, when Metro Prime Trilogy is inevitably announced someday, my reaction will be nuts. I'll be screaming. I'll scream a lot. So,
No, 764, it's not on Steam. You can't buy Rare Replay on it.
I wish. I really wish.
If you could, I'd own it.
Yeah, me too. So I'm trying to think. We've covered a lot, but there's a lot more we could cover. Anything that you're thinking that could happen tomorrow that we have not talked about yet?
Doom Eternal Switch gameplay. We haven't talked about that.
Okay, I agree. All right, moving on.
Alright.
Well, I mean,
Panic.
Is there anything more to say on that?
No.
Okay.
There's not.
Okay.
Panic button ports. Specifically, somebody earlier mentioned GTA 5. Why haven't we seen that game? Didn't the developers say they were waiting on 64 gigabyte cartridges? They exist.
Maybe. Yeah, that'd be kind of an
thing?
insane announcement actually to see GTA 5 on Switch.
That'd be crazy. It's possible.
Indeed.
Could be doing that.
Yeah.
We could see Wolfenstein: The New Order. That's part of the new Wolfenstein story. That's the first game before the new Colossus and Youngbloods. We don't have that on
you
Switch.
can have that port over. Okay.
Yeah. You don't have that on Switch. You can't play that first part of the story on the Switch. So it makes
Another
sense
option is
to come
Fallout
eventually.
4, right?
Fallout 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. We could have or 3. New Vegas apparently is like super popular.
Okay.
So we could get that one. So
Makes sense.
There are a couple of panic button ports that I think could be really big. I predicted in my video today that we would get probably 2 panic button
They'll
games.
probably talk about Witcher 3 briefly again, right?
That's not done by Panic Button.
No,
That's done by another-
when I said they, I just mean the Nintendo Direct.
Oh, yeah. They're gonna talk about that again.
Okay.
for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll talk about too much.
That's,
apart from the trailer,
CD
because we
Projekt Red?
already- Yeah, CD Projekt Red. We already have both docked and handheld gameplay of that. So
You know what's something that I kind of want, that I just realized, like, I haven't seen? A new 3D Sonic game. Like, a good one.
yeah, we had Sonic Forces a while back. It was trash.
Yeah. I miss the Sonic colors on the Wii.
I don't think that would be announced during the Direct, though.
Yeah. No, probably not. Just thinking about games I want that are third party. That actually, I heard, this is another prediction I heard from someone else, but maybe we see some more Sega Ages games, like Dreamcast games, like Sonic Adventure.
That could happen.
I would love that.
I'm not sure if they'd be announcing this Direct or not.
I don't know.
I don't know if that's a big enough deal for the Direct. It might just
Right.
be its own-
Right.
We got Devil May Cry 1. Maybe we could get some other Devil May Cry games, maybe even 5. Apparently that game, actually, from what I remember, is like super...
You know, we haven't even really
even
talked
on,
about
like, the
2020
basic
games
Xbox
yet, right?
One.
Like Nintendo 2020 games, we
Well,
haven't really
these
touched
are,
on
I
it.
guess,
Yeah.
third-party 2020
Okay.
games.
Well, all right.
So
we're moving
in the
on to the
discussion.
I guess we're gonna reach the climax of the podcast after this. We're gonna move into the 2020 Nintendo games soon. Once we talk a little more about third party stuff. There's actually we haven't Monster Hunter. I think there's gotta be a Monster Hunter coming to Switch sooner or later.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the possibility of it being announced during this Direct is there. I think by sometime next year we will have heard about a new Monster Hunter for Switch.
Right. I mentioned that not in my predictions video, but another video.
In
I
your
made.
heart. And your video.
Yeah, my video about it was a video just having fun trying to predict the 12 unannounced GameStop games. I mentioned Monster Hunter and that.
Right. There's actually more than that.
Right, yeah, there was more,
Yeah.
but at the time of the recording that video, there was
Gotcha.
12, but there was I think like 18 or 21 by the end.
Right.
But GameStop usually has a few more than there actually is going to be, just different versions of
Right.
games a lot of times.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so what do you think about Devil May Cry 5 actually? I feel like that game was like real popular early on.
It's really popular, but didn't that just come out?
That came out like very early in the year. So
This
we could get
year?
a port announced. Yeah,
Like this
but
year?
Yeah, but it would be 2020. I'm saying like a 2020. But like
I mean, like,
Wolfenstein,
hey,
Wolfenstein 2 got
it-
announced before that game even came out.
Right, but different publishers. Right.
But a panic button port could happen.
You think they would Capcom would hire Panic Button to bring over Devil May Cry 5?
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't.
It's just a possibility.
I'm not. Yeah, I don't think that's likely.
Really?
Do I think that it would be cool? I do think it would be cool. I think it'd be cool. Like it would be great. I don't see Panic Button working on that. Has Panic Button done any ports besides Bethesda published games?
Yeah, they did. What's that free-to-play shooter game that came last year? What's it called? The Space.
Warframe.
Warframe. They did Warframe. That's not fun Bethesda at all.
Who publishes that?
Who does publish Warframe?
What should be Bethesda?
I want to say
it's
Blizzard
not.
For some reason, but it's not.
Maybe. I don't know either though.
Digital Extremes. I don't know. Some random person.
Yeah.
The developer's Digital Extremes, so not like a big
Right.
developer.
Right.
Like they've not only done Bethesda games, like they've done other stuff.
I got you. I just don't see Capcom, a Japanese company, hiring Panic Button to port Devil May Cry 5. Like they haven't brought over Monster Hunter World yet, you know.
Right.
So that or Resident Evil 2 remake or either.
True.
So I just think it'd be weird to do Devil May Cry 5. Like I feel like Monster Hunter World and Resident Evil 2 remake make more sense to be ported over to the Switch before Devil May Cry 5. Mainly because we have Astral Chain and Bayonetta already, and there's.
I guess they're kind of similar.
Yeah. Not to mention that Monster Hunter and Resident Evil 2 remake are. Well, at least with Monster Hunter, it's older as well.
I don't know if Monster Hunter would come at all, though.
They're all, like, graphically impressive games.
Right. I think, honestly, the easiest one would probably be either Resident Evil 2 or Devil May Cry 5. Because even Devil May Cry 5 ran, like, really well, even on the base Xbox One.
The one that I want to see is Resident Evil 2.
Resident Evil 2 had more issues. It was a more graphically demanding game. It seemed, for some reason. Even though they both look very good.
Yeah. It would be nice to see another new IP from a third party, though. Right? Like, we're seeing a lot of, like, third-party ports, but we're not seeing any new IPs. I want to see something new made. And that's kind of what I expect for Monster Hunter, actually. I expect a new Monster Hunter to be made for Switch. Mm-hmm. So I just don't know when that's going to be announced.
We got Octopath Traveler last year. We got Astral Chain this year.
True.
So we could get another game.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know if it'd be announced now, though.
Child Nexus said, the creator of Devil May Cry 5 said that if Dragon's Dogma sold well, he'd be willing to bring Devil May Cry 5 to Switch. Did it sell well? Right. I didn't buy it.
I don't know if it sold well or not.
Yeah. But let's move forward with some 2020 discussion here. I see I got some ads, so I'll go over that real quick. So Brandon Stallion, so do you think they'll announce a new Paper Mario game going back to its roots, or Mario Baseball Golf for Strikers? Please not Mario Golf. I hate Mario Golf. You suck at it? That's alright. I would love to see Mario Strikers. That's one that I would like to see. Mm-hmm. Mario Baseball or Golf, I mean, okay. You know, it wouldn't shock me if Nintendo announced the Mario Sports game and I wasn't excited about it. But I want to point out that Mario Sonic in the Olympics is coming out next summer, right? No, sooner, way sooner. Yeah, like.
I thought it was not this year.
Yeah, I don't know why I said summer.
Because it always comes out.
The Olympics is next summer. The actual 2020 Olympics is next summer.
Right, but it usually.
Yeah, it comes up beforehand.
When is that? I'm looking right now. Can I please load the page? That's coming out this November.
Right. Okay. So don't even pay no mind to what I said. I got confused with the actual Olympics.
It's like FIFA and Madden. It comes out the year before.
Right. Makes sense. Sav64 asked me, do you think we'll see a Pikmin trilogy? No. I don't, sadly. What I think is what's going to happen is that Pikmin 3 will eventually be ported over, and then eventually Pikmin 4 will be announced. Eventually. When? I don't know. We gotta get Pikmin 3 first. I'm thinking. Maybe they canned Pikmin 3, because I'm saying this because there have been insiders saying Pikmin 3 for a while. So it's possible the reason it hasn't been brought up is because it's been canned and they're working on Pikmin 4. Possible. So maybe we won't have to wait. But also, one consideration is that when they do announce Pikmin 3, maybe they're planning to have Pikmin 4 come out like about a year later. So, you know, who knows? We'll have to wait and see on that one. Let me see here. Mastermind Anatomy. So I guess my 3-character 3 is still on. Which 3-character 3?
I don't know what.
Mastermind. Wait, since we're not getting our character remote, so that means my 3-character 3 is still on. I just don't know. I don't remember the 3-character 3 that you're referring to. I'm assuming you're talking about Smash, right? I think that much is clear. Let me see. 3-character 3. Wait, since we're not getting in our character remote, so that means my 3-character 3. You're gonna have to say something to re-jog my memory on that. But I saw someone bringing up the possibility about Breath of the Wild 2. Yeah, Darcy says, we all agree there's a 0% chance of Breath of the Wild 2 at this direct, right? 0%, no. 1% chance, yes, I agree with Random Gaming, dude, 1% chance. There's always a chance, but it's a low chance. Very low chance. So I would not expect it for sure. I think that's the right way to go about it. But it's possible. It's possible. I'm actually expecting Breath of the Wild 2 at the Game Awards. I brought that up in my video that I published on Saturday. But I do think there's a fairly decent chance that Super Mario Odyssey 2, or whatever it's going to be called, Super Mario Sunshine Odyssey, or a new 3D Mario game, will be at least teased tomorrow. Why? Well, I've been thinking that it's been in development for a while already. I have a video on it talking about that. But even before the whole watermelon tweet, I thought the new Mario game was coming out next year. I just now I'm thinking it might even be announced this during this direct because of the watermelon tweet. The watermelon tweet happened like not that long ago, right? It would have been one thing if the watermelon tweet happened and then they waited a month, right? But no, the watermelon tweet with Mario was really recent. It was last week, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. About a week. And that tweet brought up both Sunshine and Odyssey, and it was a new render of Mario eating a watermelon. It's very reminiscent of the Chibi Robo tweet. And the Chibi Robo tweet was an acknowledgement of the exasperated fans demanding for an Nintendo Direct and not getting any info. But it was like Nintendo became self-aware and posted this flaming Chibi Robo. But what people didn't realize at the time, that was actually apparently a tease of the Solar amiibo. It was a reference to a character from Praise the Sun for Dark Souls Remastered. So I think there's precedent for Twitter teasing things. Nintendo has teased other things in other ways, but even Twitter, like their Nintendo Twitter account has teased things before. So you pair that with the timing of things, with my personal belief that it's been in development for a while. I think it's a Galaxy 2 type of situation because, one, I made a whole video on it, but like I looked into an Iwata Asks for Galaxy 2, and what happened with Galaxy 2 is that shortly after Galaxy 1, Shigeru Miyamoto actually advised the team start working on a sequel because they should reuse that engine. They accomplished so much with the Galaxy engine, with all the graphics, with all the gravity physics. So they did start exploring ideas, and they had some leftover ideas like using Yoshi, and eventually that worked into this in-house, they had a codename for the game. It was called Super Mario Galaxy More, or More Super Mario Galaxy, and it was kind of going to be like a Galaxy 1.5, but eventually they had so many ideas that it materialized to a Galaxy 2, right? But then you look at what's happened with Breath of the Wild 2, and they had so many DLC ideas that they eventually just decided to make a full-on sequel. So with Super Mario Odyssey, there's actually a lot of artwork for that game that's come out, and so many different unused ideas were there. And the Odyssey engine, honestly, is probably the best 3D platforming engine ever made, right? It's one of the most polished, well-done engines Nintendo has ever created. And Mario Odyssey sold really well. It's like in a similar positioning in terms of where Galaxy was and where Odyssey is. So for all those reasons, I feel like it makes a lot of sense for Nintendo to just reuse that engine and make a whole new game. Not to mention, there was this high expectation of DLC for Odyssey, paid DLC. It never happened. President Shuntaro Furukawa talked about Nintendo before Smash came out, wanting to bring DLC to their best-selling games. At the time, that was Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Mario Odyssey. We did not get that. We got no paid. Yeah, we got no paid DLC for those games. Nothing. Just some free DLC updates. So I think that there's something strange out there. And then there's a whole Isle Delfino island that is on the map for Mario Odyssey that was never used or realized in any way. What happened? I think at some point they had an Isle Delfino planned and either was cut or saved for DLC, but the DLC didn't happen. I think it materialized to a whole long game, right? I think we're going to hear about it now. There's a couple other things. I have a video on it. Check it out on the channel. 2 videos on it, actually. So check it out. But
Plot twist, it's Mario Kart 9 and Mario Odyssey is a character. Mario Odyssey Mario.
And Isle Delfino is a track.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd still be hyped about that.
I'd be hyped for that.
But that is not all that I would expect. No.
That's a joke. But it could happen.
Yeah, it would be pretty cool still. I mean, that's the thing about I like to, obviously in this channel we like talking about like things that could happen, speculating about that, and getting really hyped about things. But for me, like, if I'm disappointed about something, I think they just made a bad decision. But like, for example, I'm not disappointed about probably Terry Bogard and Ryo Hayabusa. Right? It's not what I wanted, but it's not. I'm not disappointed. It's like, all right, that's cool. There's a lot of other. I'm open-minded to different things. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so if there's no Super Mario Odyssey 2 or whatever tomorrow, that's fine. There's probably something else that's going to be there that I'm going to be excited about. I'm keep an open mind about it. Maybe it's something new that I've never tried before. So I think that's kind of like the right way to go about it. Like, allow yourself to get hyped up, but also be prepared for what you expect to not necessarily happen. In fact, maybe even want to be surprised, and keep an open mind. Be willing to try new things. And I think if you carry that mindset, even when you get hyped and excited, you won't really be that disappointed.
The interesting thing about Mario Odyssey 2 is the first tease we got from Mario Odyssey was actually in October, when the very first Switch trailer.
That is true.
We saw Mario Odyssey a little bit, so it's not too far off if this releases in October, November, or whatever next year. Not too far off.
Similar time frame. Yeah.
But that was also like a very, very light tease. So if we don't see it now, maybe it's because they're waiting a few months. Because the first time we actually saw gameplay and a name, confirmation that this was actually a new 3D Mario, not like a tech demo or something, was in January. So maybe we'd see it in an early 2020 direct instead. So there's both reason in the way the original was announced. There's both reason to believe it could be announced now, and reason to believe it could be announced early 2020.
But another interesting point, though, is Luigi's Mansion 3 is coming out this October. Super Mario Odyssey came out in October in 2017, but Luigi's Mansion was announced last September, right? So I could see Odyssey being announced for this September direct and coming out in October next year as well. Yeah. So, there's definitely there's precedent for that for Mario Universe games, big ones, in fact. So, maybe. Right? We'll have to wait and see. I will say that before the whole watermelon tweet came out, I did not expect anything for Odyssey to be announced until next year. But
yeah,
I'm on the hype train now, so I'm buying into it.
In my video I put a 60% chance. I'm kind of sticking with it, maybe a bit higher, maybe 70%. But I'm not sold. I want to be on the hype train, but I also don't want to be like, too confident.
I mean, there is such a history of us thinking that they were teasing us something, and it turns out they didn't, or it's something entirely different, right? So there is that to consider. So,
there's the very, in my mind, unlikely option that it's Mario Odyssey DLC, but we talked about this, I think.
It would just be so weird for it to be DLC at this point because it's been so long. They would be losing out on a lot of money, I think.
It's just weird to announce it now.
Yeah. Which is also why the whole expansion DLC idea for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate a few years from now also might be weird.
That, I think, wouldn't be weird because...
I think they would have to do like a re-release.
Switch 2? Right. Because I think it would be to promote the
It depends how it's branded.
Another system.
It really depends how it's branded, I think. The branding's very, very critical with that.
Yeah. They could, yeah. I think they would have a new edition to go along with the Switch 2's launch or close to launch. It'd be the Smash Ultimate Edition.
Yeah.
But it also probably the content would be available on the Switch normal version as well.
Mm-hmm. So I want to check in with some of the things brought up in the chat. So Branston added me. I really hope that WarioWare Switch rumor is true, and that's our December game, because I would love to ask for that for Christmas so I can have multiplayer for my own. Hey, WarioWare for a December game would be fun. You know, not what I expected necessarily, but also could totally fit. That's definitely a good possibility, and would be a great game to have. Recessive Gamer. Any game that isn't announced that you would be absolutely thrilled to see, even if it's nearly impossible that it would be announced.
We talked about this earlier.
Kind of, I mean, just, you know, like potential dream games, basically, right?
Right.
Now, just to clarify, announced as in something that's not even known to be in development, right? Like, for example, I would love to see Breath of the Wild 2 tomorrow, or Metro Prime 4. Those games are already announced. But in terms of something that's not announced, that I do not expect to be announced, F-Zero. I'd love to see a new F-Zero game, or Kid Icarus game. I actually just beat Kid Icarus last weekend. The NES Kid Icarus for the first time. You beat on Nintendo Online.
Was it good?
Yeah, it's great. It's really hard. It's one of those things where I had to use. I really took advantage of the rewind feature on Nintendo Online. It's the more than save states. It's like there's like it's basically like infinite divine pulsing.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's infinite divine pulses. It's pretty cool. It makes you can beat any game that way. But yeah, I just played it through in a night. It's fun.
So it's not like Ice Climbers, which is complete trash. Because there are some games...
No, I have a nostalgia for Kid Icarus though, because Kid Icarus is like one of the first. I think it was like my first virtual console game on Wii. Right, came out at the time of Brawl, where Pit was announced and stuff. Like, so I got really into it then, but it was really hard for me. I never beat it. So it's kind of interesting. Like, it's kind of like nostalgia inception, because it's a really old game, and the nostalgia I have for Kid Icarus is on my Wii, my Nintendo Wii, right?
Right.
So as a virtual console game, so I have nostalgia for a nostalgia game. But yeah, it's fun. You should try it out. It's free if you have Nintendo Online.
I would like Wind Waker HD on the Switch. It's not really a dream game, I guess, because I guess it's not that crazy.
I mean, you sold your Wii U, so
yeah.
I
want to play Wind Waker on my Nintendo Switch.
Gotcha. That'd be nice to have for sure. I sold Twilight Princess HD. Maybe I could get it for cheaper on my Wii U. I kinda do want to play through it again. It's the beginning's kind of hard to get through.
You think Wii U stuff would be super cheap, but actually, because they only made so much, it can get
limited quantity. Yeah, they're like collector's editions.
Not terribly expensive, but it's items. Like Wii U's are like $200.
Wow,
it's dumb.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Mastermind added me. I think it's in relation to the three character theory he had. Yeah, it's Smash. My theory is each third-party character can get only 3 characters in Smash. Sounds silly since Namco and Square have 1 and 2, so I don't know if that makes any sense at all.
Okay.
3. They max out at 3. So Capcom has Mega Man, Ryu, and Ken. Right. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of getting a Monster Hunter character, they just got a Monster Hunter Assist Trophy boss combo.
Mm-hmm.
Sega has Sonic and Joker. Yeah, there's definitely no company that has more than 3. We'll see.
I don't know if that's a specific, like, intentional thing from Nintendo.
It's just kind of hard to imagine and see a third-party company getting more than 3 DLC characters.
Mm-hmm.
Period. That's a lot of rights and things to deal with, especially when there's all these other companies and games that could be in Smash. Computer Robots added me. I think you're looking too much into the Super Mario Odyssey 2 Mario with the watermelon tweet thing. Well, like I said, I fully acknowledge that there's a great chance that there is nothing to this tweet and we won't hear about Mario Odyssey 2 or Sunshine or anything tomorrow. But if it happens, I hope you're ready to take the L. Because I think it might. I think I'm 50-50 on it, to be honest with you. So we'll see what happens. I think it's possible.
The Yellow Kazoo is very upset that I sold my Wii U.
Yeah, you are a sinner, Brandon.
I got like almost $500 from that thing.
What?
It was worth it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I got a lot of money for the actual system itself, surprisingly, even though the gamepad didn't work. I got a bunch of money I had a pretty good amount of games, and there was also the trade-in. Since I was trading in towards the Switch, I got like $75 or $100 more. So I was like, hell yeah. I needed to buy 2 Switches. I had to buy one for me and one for my friend, and a copy of Breath of the Wild, and I think I bought a copy for Breath of the Wild for him too. So I have a lot of things to pay for. Something I had to give. I think I sold my 2DS to help pay for it as well.
I'm sorry.
It's okay, dude. Whenever a new system comes out, I don't play the old system anyways. Just
that makes sense. I barely use my Wii U. It's used very, very rarely. It's usually just to record gameplay for something.
The only thing that I'm like, man, I wish I had a Wii U is I never got to beat Xenoblade Chronicles X, which I hear the ending is kind of trash anyways. And I really want to play Wind Waker every once in a while.
What?
It is. I really want to play Wind Waker every once in a while. I just am like, man.
Yeah, Wind Waker HD is a very great game. It's best.
It's my favorite game of all time.
It really is pretty good.
Although it's not the best game I've ever played, to be honest. It's just nostalgia has it at number 1.
I see CakeMan777. He said, I don't actually know what I really want to see, but I watched a video by Luxon, a Xenoblade guy, and it made me want to play a new Mollisoft game. Look, I think there's a chance we're going to see a Mollisoft game tomorrow. I think it might be just an enhanced version of Xenoblade X, right? But it also could be a new a new game, right? They have the concept art, they have those job listings. We know there's something in the works.
Yeah.
We know
that medieval game has been in work since at least August 2017.
Right. So maybe that's announced tomorrow. Definitely possible, man. Absolutely. Hello there, Yellow Kazoo. In Astral Chain, there are cats. There are cats, and they are adorable. I agree with you.
And you can feed them for items.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
Recessive Gamer really wants 1,000 Year Door 2.
Yeah. If 1,000 Year Door 2 got announced, I would literally probably die.
Yeah, I like what Yellow Kazoo is saying, though. They don't really do DLC that. She's talking about Nintendo in relation to Odyssey DLC. She's saying they don't really do DLC that much at this point. For example, with Breath of the Wild DLC, they said they had too many good ideas and they had to make it into a whole new game. Yeah, I mean, like, well, first of all, Breath of the Wild did have DLC, so Nintendo does do DLC, but to do it so late after the game comes out, it just makes more sense for it to be a full-on new game. Nintendo will be kind of shooting themselves in the foot. They have so many ideas, they can just make it into a whole game. That's what they're doing with Breath of the Wild 2. If there was going to be paid DLC for Mario Odyssey, it would have happened already. It would have happened already. It hasn't. And I wanted it. I was a big proponent for it. It just never happened. Cake Man said, I don't even know how I would react to a new F-Zero being announced. It would be insane. I'd be so happy for a new F-Zero. Private information, specifically a new cheaper robo game that plays like the GameCube original, not the DS games. That would be pretty hype as well. Emmanuel, hello there again. Ray J, I hope Ryu Hayabusa is the last character for the Fighter's Pass. I think he's going to be.
Seems like it.
Yeah, and I do think Terry is going to be the 4th character announced tomorrow. Oh, right. Sega also has Bayonetta. Bayonetta, Sonic, and Joker. Although, I kind of consider Bayonetta like a Nintendo character. Yes, Sega has rights involved there, but I consider Bayonetta a Nintendo character. Because Nintendo also publishes Bayonetta games.
Mm-hmm.
As far I don't know if SNK was bought up by Sega. I haven't heard about that. Ray J asked that, I think.
I'm not sure about that.
Esteban Ravioli, what's your reaction to Sakurai saying Smash has a low budget? Well, that's not what he said.
That's not what he said.
No. They had a low budget for the hero presentation, suggesting that they might not have much more budget left for DLC advertisement. But Super Smash Bros. Ultimate definitely had a very, very huge budget. It's a very expensive game.
There's no, like, Smash has like an infinite budget. They're not over here.
Like, there's no way
they're
Nintendo...
over here like, oh my god, we're running out of budget for Smash Ultimate. Like, they could just make it bigger if they want.
Nintendo would make it bigger. Then Smash Brothers is like
it's Smash Brothers.
Smash Brothers causes more conversation than anything else with Nintendo. And it
sells so much. It makes them so much money.
There's literally no way that even if they did have a specified budget for something and they'll try to make it fit within that, doesn't mean they can't require more budget for more things. So yeah.
Honestly, I think Sakurai just wanted to do that hero thing, and he was like, let's make a joke about the budget, and then people were like, oh my god.
Well, there was
a
translation that came out that suggested that there is budget limitations, but that's just because they want to fit it within that. It doesn't mean that they don't need more budget. Like, it's not going to affect the characters or the content anyway. That's just how they're presenting the different DLC characters. I don't think it's a big deal. If they need more budget, they can get it. That's all it is.
I'm pretty sure if Sakurai really wanted to do a separate presentation, he could have just asked Nintendo for more.
Yeah.
I feel like that was something he thought was fun as well. Like, clearly it was clear he thought that was really fun. And
I thought it was
fun. Cool
fun.
Idea.
I liked it. I thought it was great.
I thought it was okay. I like Sakurai himself, so I thought that was cool. But I wasn't so interested in what he was actually showing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, where are we now? We're like, it's almost midnight for me. Probably should end this soon. But tomorrow, Brandon, I didn't ask you yet, but I'm pretty sure you're down. We're streaming this together, right?
Yeah. Dude, I even mentioned in my predictions video that we would probably do that.
Okay. Yeah. No, in the Discord they were asking if we're gonna do it together. I was like, yeah, probably. I haven't asked them yet, but so yeah, Brandon and I are both gonna be streaming it tomorrow, right?
It's gonna be at a good time too.
Good time. We could probably even
freaking like the Indies Direct was at like.
Well, you know what's nuts? We're doing a whole podcast now, but we could probably do like an hour pre-show.
Probably.
Maybe we'll do like 30-45 minutes before. Maybe an hour is a little much, but
probably 30 minutes.
Yeah, let's just shoot for 30 minutes before the show starts. That's what usually works for us. But anything else, let me run over some of my predictions. Predictions. Super Mario Odyssey 2, right? An HD port, an enhanced port from the Wii U era, right? That may, and that also includes Prime Trilogy, even though it's technically a Wii game, but some sort of enhanced port. At least one. Banjo Kazooie will be mentioned for Smash. Terry will be revealed for Smash, and there will be either a Banjo Kazooie game, Banjo Tooie, or a Rare Replay announced tomorrow for Smash Brothers. Not for Smash, just for the Switch. Anything else I have? Those are kind of like the things I expect for sure to happen tomorrow. I don't think Bayonetta 3 is going to show up because it's too soon after Astral Chain.
I actually think it might. I think there's a good chance it
might. It could.
It's been so long. I feel like they were... Obviously, they were waiting on development, but I feel like they were also kind of waiting on Astral Chain, and I don't think announcing it now would overshadow Astral Chain because that's gotten so much attention in the media. Like, everybody's talking about how good that game is, and it's had its time to prove itself. I don't think them announcing Bayonetta 3 people would just instantly drop Astral Chain talk. Especially because I think it would be another teaser. I think we'll get at least a teaser. Like, maybe not we would get, like, a full gameplay or anything.
Right.
But I think another teaser is, like, well overdue.
Yeah, I mean, they gotta talk about some 2020 games. Bayonetta could be one of them. No More Heroes could be another, right?
Oh, yeah. They could talk about that game. Apparently, that's, like, 50% done or more. More than 50% done now.
Yeah.
So, they could talk about that.
Yeah, another prediction I have is that I do think we're gonna see something from Monolith Soft. I want to point out that for E3, I'm pretty sure I predicted something from Monolith Soft to show up. I did. And we technically, I think, were right. Because Breath of the Wild 2 was shown off, and Monolith Soft probably is helping. Well, I don't know if it's confirmed yet, but Monolith Soft is likely helping out with Breath of the Wild 2.
Well, if you go to their job listings, they have 2 separate projects, and then they have their whole list. One of them is for a Zelda game, one of them is for their medieval game, and then they have another job listing that is for Xenoblade and all of the job listings for those 2 projects as well. So the Zelda game is its own, like, separate thing. So it's likely Breath of the Wild, unless they're working on another project. Unless they're working on Xenoblade Chronicles 3, the medieval game, Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, and another Monolith Soft Zelda game. It's probably Breath of the Wild.
And Xenoblade X.
Yeah, and Xenoblade X.
The
Apparently,
port.
like, I am 99% certain that is for Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah, makes sense. Yellow Kazoo asked, will Nintendo Land 2 show up? I don't think so. I just think that the whole concept art with Monita, with Reggie and Retro Studios just has to be something with Nintendo Land.
I'm curious if Retro Studios would want to announce...
I don't... unless it's like an early 2020 game, I don't expect that to be announced in this Direct.
I'm wondering if they'll want to announce Metroid Prime Trilogy first.
I don't...
So that people don't...
I feel like it doesn't matter.
Well, the thing is, like, if they announce...
What I mean by it doesn't matter is I just feel like if it's Nintendo Land and Metroid Prime Trilogy HD, I don't think those games have any sort of correlation with each other, right? In terms of what audiences they reach. Like, I think, like, hypothetically, Prime Trilogy could come out in January and Nintendo Land 2 could come out in February, and it wouldn't really impact anything. I don't think that's gonna happen, but just saying, I don't think it really matters which one comes when. I think it, in terms of, like whenever they think that, like, I just don't think the decisions made for each game are going to be separate from each other. They're not going to be related in any way. So they think Nintendo Land makes sense for summer, it's going to happen in summer. I think Prime Trilogy makes sense for December or January, that's when it's happening.
I'm just curious if they want to say, after all this time, that the very next project other than Metroid Prime 4 that they're going to talk about is Nintendo Land 2. And if they're also working on Metroid Prime Trilogy, I feel like they would want to announce that.
Okay, actually, that's the one thing where I would agree with you, that maybe just because they know there'll be some backlash, they'll announce something that would please the core Retro Studios fans. And then bring up... I see what you're saying with that,
because they're working on Metroid Prime 4, sure, but we have no idea when that's going to come out.
Yeah.
No idea. Yeah. So if their very next project, and a lot of people are going to be like, oh, Nintendo Land, Metroid Prime Trilogy is not happening. Like, even though that doesn't make any sense, people are going to say that. So I think it would make more sense for them to announce either both, which I don't think is going to happen, or Metroid Prime Trilogy and then Nintendo Land. Even if Nintendo Land's coming out earlier, because it doesn't matter. Even if it is, they can announce them out of order.
Makes sense.
Just so they're not like, hey guys, after all this time, we're working on Nintendo Land 2. You want Metroid? We got a Metroid mode in this game. There you go.
It makes sense. It really does. So, what was I gonna say? We are wrapping things up here. As Silent Joe pointed out, we're pretty much at a 3-hour mark.
Yeah, you can't have a Nintendo Direct Predictions podcast without getting to 3 hours.
Yeah, there you go.
It would be I'd be wrong.
Right. Yeah. But I do see that Yellow Kazooie brought up the but well yeah, she was talking about Wii U ports, and I saw Shove Nexus brought up Wonderful 101 port. Wonderful 101 is another Wii U port that could maybe happen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I also see Alexander Barossa asking for any thoughts on the Mega Man Zero collection. I don't have many thoughts on that, mainly because I just...
Isn't that the one that was leaked on the PlayStation Store? That's almost certainly coming to all systems.
Yeah, I mean, I see it happening. I'm not... It's not something I'm personally excited about, but yeah, I see it happening. So, I mean, okay. Trying to, I want to pull in together all of, the things I expect for tomorrow. So, something from Soft, Mario Odyssey sequel is what I'm predicting, even though I realize that there's a good chance it might not be there, but I think it might be. I think Banjo for Smash is going to be mentioned. Terry's going to be revealed, and then the Rare Replay, probably not Rare Replay, probably just Banjo Kazooie and Banjo Tooie, and then that's pretty much it in terms of what I expect to see tomorrow, and at least one Wii U port. Mm-hmm. If not a Wii U port, just either a Wii U port or Prime Trilogy HD will be there, at least one. Obviously, Sword and Shield are going to be talked about, and we didn't talk too much about Sword and Shield. I think they're going to talk about some other mode that hasn't been mentioned yet, and Starter Evolutions. And Luigi's Mansion, actually. We didn't talk about Luigi's Mansion. What can they talk about for that?
Yeah,
I feel like I've seen everything I need to see for that game already.
Yeah, there's nothing... I legit, and I said this in my video, but all they're going to do, I think, is show a new floor, or more... probably, because last time
maybe there's another mode to show off.
During Gamescom, they showed off that...
achievement
grassy
system? Yeah,
floor,
the forest floor.
That we had seen before, but we'd only seen one snippet. They could show off that musical theater room with the doors with the music notes, because we've seen one snippet of that area and that's it. So I think they could show more of that floor, and maybe there is a new mode that they could show off, but I don't think there will.
Oh, wait, hold on. This just in. Brandon for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Brandon's the next DLC character for Smash Bros. Ultimate. Wow. Oh man, here it is. You got the fresh leaks right here, guys. Brandon, I hope you packed your bags, because your letter came in the mail today. You're leaving tomorrow morning to the pantheon of gaming greats.
Yes. I got my ticket. I'm flying out to Nintendo to do a
can't wait to use you against Terry, and you're gonna get your butt destroyed. Because that dude's ridiculous. Terry's basically a Dragon Ball character. He's a monster.
I'm going to die. Not to mention I'm going to get shot by guns and stabbed with swords. I'm not worried about the guy who punches me. I'm worried about the guy who shoots me and stabs me. Blows me up.
Yeah. So, I only get to be a spirit.
Oh.
I don't know how I feel about that. To get the spirit treatment.
Not even
Jesus.
This trophy?
Can I at least be an echo of Link? Or Charizard?
Charizard Echo. I'll be the Link Echo. You can be the Charizard Echo.
Oh man. Okay, that's fine. Alright, spirit is better than nothing. Yeah, so I think we're pretty much done, guys. If you guys have any final questions, put out right now. You guys got 5 minutes.
Chop.
5 minutes.
I guess the only thing that you haven't said is I think there would be... Obviously, there's going to be more third-party games, so I'm expecting at least 2 big announcements.
I'm losing you. You're disconnecting.
No. Why?
I don't know.
It's probably Discord being dumb.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Discord, why you hate me?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I expect 2 big third-party games. Obviously, footage for Witcher 3 is gonna happen, but it's not gonna be anything big, and probably Eternal Switch play. So, other than the thing you said, those are the things that I'm expecting.
Yeah. So, I see a question from Isaiah B. He's like, I know I'm late, but did you say anything for a new IP? We didn't really talk about a new IP. I think about the thing about a new IP is that it's an unknown quantity.
You can't predict IP.
I mean, you could predict a new IP, just...
No, I mean, you can't predict what it's gonna...
right, it's pretty hard to predict what it's gonna be, for sure.
I mean, you could... it's gonna probably be wrong. Why?
Yeah.
Get a miracle guess.
Yeah.
In before somebody predicted Splatoon.
Yeah. Let me see.
I don't think it's that likely that we'll get a new...
We just got one that came... Astral Chain just came out.
True.
Astral Chain just came out, right? And I guess Town is also a new IP. We just haven't seen any information for it yet, really. So there's that. But in terms of another one, it could happen. But I don't think there's going to be any major ones announced in the Direct. Not yet. Like, I mean, look, Astral Chain and it was announced this year. It came out this year. I could see that might happen again in 2020.
Arms was announced pretty close to release, actually. That's announced in January. That came out when? Summer? Sometime? Summer? Like June or something? I don't remember exactly. And then Splatoon 2, Splatoon 2 was announced January, got released July. So...
Actually, I see Kazooie, she said, in order to kind of figure out a new IP, she said, first figure out what genre Nintendo's lacking and then come up with a new concept. It's so easy. Alright,
it's an MMO and first-person shooter.
I was going to say horror.
Horror,
yeah.
They have horror IPs, though. They just don't use them.
Luigi's Mansion is not horror. They do have the... What was it? Eternal Darkness?
Yeah, they have Eternal Darkness. Let's use that.
Yeah, I'd like to see a new Eternal Darkness, actually. That'd be epic. Yeah, Luigi's Mansion is kid-friendly horror. I would call it more of spooky. Spooky.
It's not actually... You're not gonna get scared playing Luigi's Mansion unless you're a little kid.
I mean, I could feel I could maybe...
the original.
I could see some eeriness happening. Luigi's Mansion actually was kind of...
Unless you look at the
original Luigi's Mansion... The original Luigi's Mansion was a little scary. In some parts of it. It was
scary when I was young, but not, Not never gonna get scared.
I was worried about ghosts jumping out at me, I was worried about that. In the dark, there's some fear level there. But not much, I agree. I mean, we've talked before. We think Metroid needs some more horror elements.
Yeah. That's a game that could actually be scary.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I think we're at the end here. Mario Odyssey 2, Terry Bogard, tomorrow. Get ready. It's happening. Anyways, everyone, thank you so much for listening and watching. The link to Brandon's channel, What About Nintendo, is in the description below. Please check him out. We will both be streaming the Direct tomorrow.
I got those 2 Astral Chain discussions. Spoiler-free one and a spoilery one.
Yeah. And actually, what I was going to say, because Kazoo was suggesting that we do a raid. We could raid Dumo Plays. Apparently he's live right now. If you want to continue some Nintendo discussion while he's streaming... I'm not sure what. I'm going to find out right now. He's live right now. Oh, he's playing Monster Hunter. So you can go ahead and raid Dumo Plays. I'll put a link to his thing here in the chat. So
just check to see if your cat can learn it. If your cat can learn it, we'll...
Yeah, so go ahead and raid Dumo Plays, guys. Give him a like, check him out. Talk about the Nintendo Direct with him and Monster Hunter. See what he thinks. But anyways, everyone, thank you so much for listening and watching. We'll see you soon. Nintendo Direct tomorrow. Get hyped. We will have a pre-show both on Brandon's channel and my channel. We'll start about 30 minutes before the Direct. So stay tuned. We'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.